help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. 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 You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me. Hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. Can make me move. Can make me can make me.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations.
empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare, cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me, hold your hand while the pain was over, keep you warm by the roaring sea. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares through. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Do you remember how you held me then? Now you got me reaching out. And do you see you got me falling in more times than I can get out. Down in the deep of my mind, I cry for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, how long do I got to keep you, to keep you? Down in the deep of my mind, I cry for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, trying so hard not to keep you, to keep you. Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill.
Never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. Going with the gut, never had a doubt, felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet, hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella loved. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart. Yeah, I won't stop charging, we going come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right, it feels
Rising with each beat of the music is bringing little flames in the fire that keeps burning. We're inviting the night in. Welcome, my heart so full, I'm devoting myself to the night. There's no motive, we're just listening, we're existing. We stay when the music plays, let's drop a low and the people sway.
A little bit of light, a little bit of gold. Under pressure, you start to fold like a diamond from gold. Maybe you are something I cannot define. Maybe you are the fallen kind. I live there with violence, the silent side of me. We see where fire starts to breathe. When I would lay in silence, the voice inside of me made me use my mind right. Use my mind right. We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down. We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder.
I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker.
Show them. Change the station with a new shit. Show them. on me and look so weak. I've never seen you with such tired eyes. And everything we said we'd be, we just traded for a suit coat and a tie. And underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life. Silent border, the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. Silent border, the wind is cold. You must return to the wild.
Die kommen jetzt zu mir hoch wahrscheinlich, ja? Die kommen vor mir ins Loch wahrscheinlich. Ja, die kommt direkt zu mir, Killy.
Wir halten an deinem Stein.
On me, on my rock. Got him.
Nice. On my right, on my right.
Got him twice.
I'm gonna insta-res, I'm insta-resing.
I'm getting naded.
Ging von hinten.
Er ist am Stellen von Brex. Er ist am Stellen von Brex.
Can you re-smoke?
I don't know.
Pink is gonna come behind.
I'm trying to flank now.
We're trying to come to you, crawl to your rock.
Einer links von Smoke. Zwei Knock, schön. Schön.
Oh, I'm dead. Yeah. I got shot behind as well, dude.
Okay, ich hab keine Nade. Ich molly hinter Brexco.
Guter Molly. Hast du noch eine Nade?
Nee.
First hinter meinem Stein. Ist Full Flash, es wird wahrscheinlich rechts peak. Rechts peak.
Rechts. Ich geh rechts rum.
Ich bin mit
Links,
dir.
er geht links. Ich brauch F,
Sehr schön, good job guys.
Чёма работает жестко.
Тачка лоу хп.
Надо всем под холм ехать, брат.
Тормози, Аль.
А у меня можно на берегу жить.
Ты у нас? Да.
Слева, парень, кемп, слева кемп. Аль, смотри, они будут хае кидать, возможно. Лягте сразу, киньте смоки от будки.
Будка вообще еле-еле в зоне, просто пережить это все.
Надо ее взорвать, мы ее взорвем сейчас.
Можно захилиться, перфект, можно захилиться, все хорошо.
Смоки дай, Мау, смоки дай.
Один даю ласт. За машиной. Я хилюсь, по мне попали.
Нокнул там одного за тачку.
Пацаны, фейзы закрываются, они просто побегут вас.
Один слева кинул.
Они под лодкой прострел нашли.
Пушат. Воу, еще слева.
Ладно, бывает.
Пикайте вдвоем будку, я фейзов смотрю.
За вазиком по ногам.
Нокнул, за тачкой нокнул. Будки остался. Будки будет хили, умирать от зоны, я уверен. Хорошая, пацан.
Хорош, пацан.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome. We are back. It is the final day of PCS3 EU here to crown ourselves a grand champion. My name is Kyle Laris. I'm your host throughout all of the extravaganzas that's going to be going on throughout the day, because we've got 4 games remaining to determine who our champion is going to be. We've got Team AFK here at the desk to break things down as well. Avenger, it's been hype games from wall to wall, and now we've just got 4 games remaining.
Yeah, we got 4 more games, and as you were talking about, and as we were talking about yesterday, like we have had a somewhat close race at the top, and I'm really curious to see if they're going to be able to kind of keep this lead, or if we're going to have some surprises today, because everybody wants to get into the top 4 from our mid-pack teams, and then they had some banging games yesterday, especially FaZe.
Yeah, definitely so, Froz. I think the top 4 teams have definitely distinguished themselves. It's not out of the realms of possibility completely that some teams could catch up, but they'd have to have an amazing day, as well as our top 4 teams not having such a great day.
Yeah, and NLT yesterday made it kind of hard for the teams to catch up to them. Having a 56-point day yesterday, that's a new record, of course, but not that itself. They're also in a good lead right now with 20 points ahead of Digital Athletics in second place. But, I mean, there's still a lot of places to play from, and the middle pack itself is also pretty stacked right now.
Yeah, definitely so. First place, of course, throughout the tournament is $50,000. We've already crowned 3 champions across the world here, as we had APAC, APAC conclude, and that was great stuff. We have our 50,000 for first place here as well, and we teeter on down from there. We've already had a few of our teams gather themselves $3,200, but now we're into top 16 territory. Right now, Northern Lights stares down the barrel of being able to take not just their first title for the year, but also their second title. They started the year very strongly, Martin, and they could be bookending it well.
Yeah, that would have been a crazy one for them, honestly, because they had some somewhat high down periods in in the middle of the season, to be honest. They started off strong, as you said, but here, like, look at this lead, 187 points, a 21-point lead. A 21-point lead is basically around what a mid-pack team will get on an average day, right? So having that lead down to the analytics is quite big, considering that we're gonna see Northern Lights coming out with, you know, a pretty good momentum. I would say they're in the lead. They're looking really good. They need to have a couple of good games to solidify themselves at the very top. And yeah, then after that, there's still some teams that are close to getting into second. So Digital Lakes, they can't even one-to-one contest them or anything without having a chance to kind of throw the second place right now. And obviously, there's a big change in the prize pool as well.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that for Northern Lights, they've played 20 games right now. Everyone's played 20 games, but 17 of those have been top 6. That's just nuts stuff. But at the same time, as you previously mentioned, there's some of the teams in the mix here that are looking to get things going. Tornado Energy and Team Liquid. Team Liquid's on the chase here, and very fervently so, Froz, because we always expect Team Liquid to be up in those top ranks. Tornado Energy has been a bit hit and miss, but is actually sat on top of the kill leading points right now.
Yeah, Tornado has been playing really well, and we see them whenever they don't get the placement points, they're already there with the kill points itself, and them having to get this many kills, it just tells you the story of how they're playing as well. They like to come in and take the fights. They want to secure those points before anything happens. They don't want to let anything go to the fate and see, okay, are we gonna make it to the top 3 or not to get some placement points, some extra on that, or we can just deal with it ourselves. We can just go for the fights, we'll take the kills, and we'll play from there. If we get the win, fine, that's really good. And I mean, they got themselves 3 wins, and that is a lot if you look at the lobby and how many wins the teams have. We have, of course, 2 of the top teams having 4 wins, but then we have them sitting just below there with 3 wins.
Yeah, it's been difficult pickings for a lot of the teams to try and get chicken dinners, because so much has been soaked up by those top teams when it comes to the overall first places here. But I mean, when you look at teams that haven't had as many first places here, Martin, I mean, technically Team Liquid, yes, had 2, but they're still very, very consistent with 152 points right now. I think they're going to be coming in very hungry today to try and catch up with that already 30-some point gap towards the top. Oof.
Right, and on top of that, it's also that we see Liquid being consistently more in the placements. Like if we take Eternity's 3 wins away, they only have 24 points from placement over 20 matches, which is a quite low average. So they're just this kind of Smash Mouth style team that will get a lot of kills and not really care if they get top 4 to try to guarantee them more points. On the other side, where we've seen Liquid more consistently get into the top 5 and secure them somewhat higher placement points on an average. But then again, it's been extremely top heavy. We've seen so many of our chicken dinners to go to the top 5 teams. It's kind of scary because, and it's kind of, I would say the other teams are kind of angry at the top teams right now because they've not been sharing. Like they have been taking it all to themselves.
Yeah, very, very strongly as well. DA, I still want to see if they can make their kind of this dream run happen for them. They fell a little bit behind towards the end of yesterday here, Froz, but that was down to those Erangel circles, right? It was very clear DA was having a hard time with those military island finishes.
Well, yeah, they had problems with that, but it started off before that, actually. They got dropped by win streak on their spot, both of the Erangel games yesterday, which forced them out of the normal spot in Rossock, and they went to South George instead, where Winstreak normally loot. So straight off the bat, they were off their normal drop spot, rotations were off, and then of course you have the milli circles, which is super rough. But what we know so far is that Digital Athletics, they like Miramar. Miramar is their game. They might have 4 wins, all 4 on Miramar, and I mean, basically, so many of their points comes from Miramar itself. It's kind of crazy. So they gotta have a strong start today. I don't want to see them going out on a 16th, 15th place today in the first game without anything. I want to see them get out there with 2 wins maybe from the start.
Oh, maybe. I mean, yesterday, the start of the day, as you said, kind of put them in a rough spot where they ended up pulling up on Team Liquid, going out early on a battleground that you believe is the kind of their forte. But Martin, we're just a few moments out before we get into things. What you wanting from the final day? What you want, Mike?
I want to see Digital Athletics start off strong. So we have a solid 2-horse race for this one here because Northern Lights is so far ahead right now of Liquid, of Tornado Energy, and honestly, it's gonna be super rough for those 2 teams to catch up to them. I feel like Digital Athletics is the only team to have a chance at it. And yesterday we saw them with a 25-point game on Miramar. Yes, the other one was a 0-pointer due to this Liquid fight here, but
yeah.
If they have a little bit of kind of fortitude or fortune with them from the start, we might be able to see a really good start, and we have a solid 2-horse race for the rest of our games.
Yeah, it will be exciting to see. Let's keep our eyes peeled. It's Miramar time, baby. It's Grand Finals day, baby, as we head over to Sims and Pansy for the desert.
Yeah, we're going to be kicking things off on Miramar, of course, and there's no better way to do it. I feel this map can garner a great deal of points, and actually I want to kind of discuss something, a little tidbit of information. Do bear in mind there was that one result, Rich. Do you remember the Pittsburgh Knights? Do you remember that team?
I do. And I remember more specifically how the very, very final day they managed to qualify in a certain event by the skin of their teeth. No one kind of saw it coming, and all of a sudden...
75 points.
Yeah, from the back lines, literally. So, you know, there is proof that other teams have the tiniest chance to be able to do this, to be able to win this event. But my God, is it going to be one difficult task? And again, it's you have to do well in yourself, but everybody else, they have to muck up. Failing that, the potentials for hot drops, they are there.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on the hot drop scenario. Again, just to clarify the top. So, of course, Northern Lights, if anything, should win this. It is their game to now lose. That's the harsh way to look at things. They sit there with the best chance there is, then DA, but it's still not a big chance. They need big performances. That's under the assumption that Northern Lights don't do as well as they should. Prediction-wise, you're looking at a solid almost 90% chance Northern Lights win this. Then you go down DA, you're looking at your 5%, your Liquids around 3, Tornado Energy. You know, these teams are so low down, but we have seen it happen before. PUBG can provide those sort of games, but we'll see if it does come through. Plenty of teams have the possibility. Fuzzface popping off a couple of shots. Mert's going to receive the touch of that, and if he goes down, that would not be the start that DA were looking for.
No, absolutely not. Even with a bit of damage done, finding your scout going into an enemy territory, it could be rather difficult, especially if you pull upon another team that's there. It's always kind of the same scenario when you're running from the blue. We talk about it time and time again, where you may have the meds, you may have everything else, but if you are weakened on approach, and if a team's just border patrol, it's very easy picking. So for that one player, scouting has to be hyper aware of what's going on now. It looks like it is Murd, who is currently not quite central, but certainly just between FaZe Clan and Northern Lights. That is a place you do not want to be for very long. Circle like this, I suppose we can talk about it in a bit more detail and a bigger picture up towards the northwest. You only have a small amount of the cliff. Oh, probably can't talk for too long because it looks like Ivers realizes that somebody's here. The gun comes out and the head goes down. Bard, do you know what's approaching?
Seems very unaware. Seems completely unsure, still fully just looting up, and hopefully we can get some game sounds for you nice and soon. Ivers creeping up, fully assured that this player's still around, but he's being cautious about it. Everyone has to be. These players, yes, you may have the initial advantage, but the return fire from someone like Vard can be pretty good. So again, Vard's still just on his loot route, doing his things, and now suddenly, did he see Ivers? I think, yes he did. Now he's fully aware. Ivers now committed to the angle as well. Vard on the other side. It looks like Vard's going to try and get an angle on this. He's going to run through, gets a bit more attention. That's just a headshot waiting to happen. You've got to be very cautious in this. Ivers dodging and weaving, going to back away to a deeper angle and does get the shot. Well played by Ivers to adjust just at that final second. Will get Vard and should get his additional loot off the back of it. No one there to trade or pressure.
It's a bit of a warning for TSM. They've fallen victim to this multiple times in previous competitions where teams have just kind of pushed on their position and really been a nuisance, not really push them out of the town, so to speak, but give them very early aggression. And by losing a player so early on, it's very, very detrimental. You know, you're going to be now down for this entire first game, and it just doesn't really set the standard. A team that will want to set the standard is Northern Lights. You were speaking about it, Lauren. You were setting up the story. This is their time to shine. This is their time to be able to put 2 championships for this year, and again, it was kind of noted on the desk, bookending it. They started with a win. To be able to round out 2020 with a win would be a phenomenal feat. I think yesterday, I have to say, to say lucky is completely the wrong word. There's no luck involved in this whatsoever. It's skill and being able to wrap around and get yourself a decent position on the map. But certainly, which did pay off for them, was Digital Athletics having a very bad day. Oh no, Vasco. Second player to fall. So losing 2 within 4 minutes is pretty quick and probably sets the story of how today is going to go. But with DA's performance yesterday, I feel that they lacked confidence. Yes, Froz mentioned it. There was certainly a readjust from WS when you have nothing to lose. Teams will kind of do whatever they want, right? They can go to the whatever locations, they can push whoever they want. If they're just playing for cash and playing a public, then fair play. But certainly, there was a few questionable points where DA paused for too long, and it ended up costing their life. 2 16th placed games with 0 points to boot is the reason that the Northern Lights have such a solid gap now. Like, I know it's only 21, and I know you can make that up with the game, but still, 21 points when there's only 4 remaining. I mean, they could literally go down in 16th here and still be top of the board when all said and done.
Yeah, I think we saw the potential of DA once again appear yesterday with Code Marco popping off in that. I think it was the second game of Miramar. The first, I think they fumbled potentially. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And then Erangel was atrocious. Obviously, that one went as far astray as possible. So, if you are a DA fan, you've got to hope that we get the second game DA that had Code Marco at the forefront, and not the ones who got kind of flustered on Erangel. And yes, I will account for the fact that we did have military circles, and they had some very harsh rotations and a new drop spot because they were pressured by WS. So, taking all of this into account, it wasn't a good day, but resilience and the ability to adapt and overcome is some of the key factors here. A couple of kills coming in, WS this time unable to dissuade too many early on, already losing a couple here as it looks like. I think Kem was still up, but I'm not sure on the other. As you can see them just off into the distance there as they'll be trying to maybe play a little safe, as Offstring did just get knocked and Maxi is already down. That's going to be Marv to claim those points, so Redline happy with that. They're in their own battles, everyone here fighting for their own reasons, be it purely pride, be it prize money, be it towards the top, and be it FaZe and Liquid about to get very close by. Uber is out on his own though. He does have Fuzzface in the same town, but not in the same sort of area. This needs to be quick, and it is. Uber, the sort of player who can deliver swift judgment. The M4 working well for him today, but it's not going to be a clean flush, and Jeems might be able to see this. He's pulling closer to it as Fuzzface has the cross, though. No one can get to Uber for free.
That's the most important thing, being able to pick up this frag but stay alive while doing so. He clearly made note that there was a vehicle on way, so that's why you will see Fuzzfish just holding it back. Jeems now opens up and opens fire. Position absolutely noted. Down below sub 50% HP will be forced to fall back. I mean, they don't even have to go for Mexi at this point. They know he's unresable if they hold position. For Liquid, it's what do? Are they committing to the cause? Are they committing to this position more importantly? FaZe Clan member in the back is under fire. Does need to be aware of that. It's going to be Gustav just holding point on that one. 3 different positions held by FaZe. And when we look at this kind of circle, there's 3 key, very important areas we need to be watching. North of Monte Nuevo, south, a bit deeper south of Monte Nuevo, and then power grid. Like if you get that power grid swing, you've already got ETG and TSM set up and ready to rock and roll on that thing. Northern Lights in between it all. You would need the eastern pull to get that. It's going to be difficult. I mean, there is still a bit of the cliff face in, but we don't know how much of effect that will for these initial circles. But certainly in and around that kind of triangulated area, that's where the players are looking at now. You do have a few obscure teams more towards the northern side. Mexi does finally bleed out. Team Liquid lose their first initial player. FaZe pick up a point. Northern side of it, Redline, WS, all these scrappy battles you are seeing unfold on your screen. Probably got the most amount of work to do when all said and done. Remember this cliff face that they're on, the kind of hook that runs off the backside of the crater. Eventually will push out. Where it goes to, nobody knows. El Pozo could be a potential spot for WS. The Sauna boys are keeping a track of that in a 2-1-1 split, spreading themselves out across the map to give themselves a better advantageous spot should the circle be unfavorable. And as it does push in 3 seconds time, we'll see where we are going to be going.
Okay. I'd still say there's a couple of possibilities towards the east that could play out, but FaZe probably quite happy with this. Still maintaining that position that they are always so happy to hold. Tornado Energy going to commit across the road. You can see them already adjusting away from the edge of El Pozo, that kind of cliffside that runs around. And Northern Lights very centralized, as is DA though. So keep in mind, these are the 2 teams towards the top who are battling for that first spot. Northern Lights currently maintain it, and they will do if DA don't take them away. Now, Northern Lights will have a couple of teams very close by, ETG, Tornado Energy. They will be challenging, but they are the kings of the castle. They have the high ground, they have the, the buildings there as well. So if they play this correctly, they shouldn't find too much bother yet.
Well, the 3 critical and most important positions are still in with this circle, so it makes it that much more difficult, especially from an IGL standpoint. This is why you will see teams like FaZe, for instance, going off on a 2-2. Why you see the Sauna boys initially, they put themselves into a 2-1-1. Getting as much land as you can without putting yourself in danger is important. That's the trade-off. It's okay separating yourselves. For instance, Sakura here, if Shift W want to pull up on it, then it's job done for him in theory. Don't get me wrong, we've seen some wonderful stuff, especially from Marco yesterday. Some of those individual performances were just absolutely incredible to witness.
Yeah, we don't expect that though. That's a treat.
and I've got to say, Lauren, like that one performance from Miramar, for me, is the reason that they're still in second position. Like that guy for that game in particular just carried his team to insanity levels. Like the man went off. It was disgusting, and it's the reason they're still in second, because everything else was not the best of performances. A lot of second guessing over on Erangel, and a lot of rough starts with WS moving another position on Miramar. So it wasn't their best day. There is still opportunity here to be able to do it, but there's a lot of factors that need to be taken into consideration here. Northern Lights being the main one, in the fact that they can just sit back, play their game, not go dive bombing into center. Honestly, it could play quite well for them.
It could. I think the main thing for me is looking at DA is what DA do we see? Because we've seen them working on this style, and stylistic changes do take time. They're a team that have adjusted themselves from, full send to the center to be able to play actually a couple of different approaches. And it's worked, and it's shown that it proves very, very potent. However, they are currently in the shadow of the Colossus of Northern Lights. They sit at the top of that hillside, and they will hinder movement, but Batulins will have to be careful. I am seeing Batulins slightly disconnected from the pack. He's a little bit further south, on the same ridgeline, but again, 10 feet, 2 steps can be the difference between being safe and being vulnerable. As Ivus just found out, as a beautiful shot from Misa. Is he the player up on that mountainside? If he is, it's the right logo for it. I just want to make sure it was him. That was gorgeous work. Just, the lightning bolt from up high, slamming down. Now, Batulins will be the one who's slightly disconnected. So, again, this is where he has to be cautious. Look at the mini-map as well, on the map here, on the right side. Spyro, Perfectix, all of them, pack of 3, if not kind of a 2-1-1. But Batulins is isolated. Now, with him being on the high ground, if he does get knocked, he might be able to kind of shuffle back far enough to be safe. But they're playing for territory, Rich. They're not being too shy about this, and that circle has proven that they are in the right place.
They are, but eventually they should, in theory, have to come down from that, right? You would suggest that with Power Grid, there is a potential that it pushes more down to the main road. I'll wait until we see. Anything can really kind of happen at this point, but you'd have to assume that maybe, that is an absolutely disgusting shot. Just leaning it forward and timing it right, bang on. DA, emergency situation here. They were quite central, but I've got to say, this is kind of what I'm questioning now, because someone in theory could go into the compound that they've just left. Like, this is a bit of a weird and wonderful play. I say wonderful. I mean, I think they're questioning it themselves. Maybe they went across the road to try and take the compound that Liquid was holding to try and take better residency. Maybe the one that ETG was going for.
Oh god, Mert is so lucky right now. Batulins has given away the position, so he might have to fall away from this, because if someone like ETG, FaZe, Tornado Energy, or someone along those lines who are in the surrounding area sees that, he is silhouetting hard. You will see him against that skyline very comfortably. But we need to talk about that DA, an attempt at an adjustment. Where were they looking towards?
I think they were going main road, like where ETG have actually fallen down from. They've moved into it, and ETG are covering it in a 2-2 split. There's 2 solid compounds there that you can take on the crossroad. To be able to capitalize on that would actually put them 1 step ahead if the circle pulls in, because now they're open to the point of, all right, if it does come down towards it, we've already got Liquid, we've already got ENCE, we've already have teams in front of us. It's basically an open gauntlet. You have all these teams that are going to be shooting you, because you can't really go up and over the hillside, otherwise you die just coming down upon it. So it becomes very, very difficult. The Northern Lights, to me, if the hard shift is not with them, I've said this so many times and then been proven wrong because they just somehow make it work. Tornado Energy has been one that's quite quiet, and probably not someone we've touched on too much. It was a bit of a up and down day yesterday for him, but they're certainly still within a shot of winning this. Now, it would take a hell of a lot, especially with DA and Northern Lights above them, but still, the individual caliber and individual skill is definitely there to be able to do this. A couple of kills onto FaZe Clan early to push them back would be better. The ground isn't great that they're currently controlling. There is no solidified compound there. You are at the mercy of the Northern Lights above you, and you are all rather spread out. I mean, this, you know, they're kind of together, but still, when you've got Example looking off to try and scout, Ali Akwizi, Melman's doing his usual thing and just wandering off for the rest of them. Having an anchor is a very strong point that they have. Always having that one person looking and knowing what's going on. Information is key to Tornado Energy's success. But when you lose that one player, you lose the man advantage, and more importantly, you lose your eyes. You lose the information on the players that will be coming your way. If TE can actually slot into Northern Lights' position, then it's comfortable.
On this. And it's a good read. Northern Lights pre-adjusting to the circle maneuver. They were already in the vehicles early. And bear in mind, they did have Batulins on that hillside. And you can see why DA wanted this compound, but now Northern Lights get that information for free. Batulins can say, hey guys, I've just seen ETG leave the compound. Send it. Send it in there. Really good scouting, in-game leadership, and knowledge of the circle already coming out from Northern Lights. They are playing a very, very strong game here. Now, DA are going to be behind the curve. They wanted to do this in the previous circle, but they couldn't. There was too many teams there, but the timing is just right for Northern Lights. They played that very well. Bystanders pulling up. There's Brexico actually pulling up on the bystanders. And oh, James, this is when you have to prove your mettle here, buddy. You've got players pushing you left, right, and potentially upstairs, but Ibby's there in support. James locks it down. That's the classic Liquid the fans would have loved to have been seeing earlier. But Clib did get caught off in the process, and I've just seen 8C not only knocked, but flushed.
Yeah, that's orange in the distance on Na'Vi. James will continue the onslaught. Pink Pony goes down. The first team to be leaving us here on Championship Sunday. Clib is potentially unresable. If they want to commit to it, fair play. Lots of bullets into the side of this one player. Senya, bye-bye, my friend. Rather unlucky, but now Fuzzface is out on a limb here. He will be able to at least run from the blue. The stims are on. They're going to be good. It's the slowest, it's the quickest side of it, so they'll have to get a wriggle on rather sharpishly, especially with the Sauna boys in the distance of FaZe Clan and everyone else starting to just teeter on the edge. It'll be TU can kind of play border control. You can see the frags are starting to drop down. Alia again just hanging back, being the anchor that they needed. Misa going down kind of alleviates that pressure for all but a sudden. Beamy's around the corner. Can he withstand Shift W's onslaught? Flammy is at the back lines. He's not there to support whatsoever. That's a huge
We need to watch that. That's far more important. Got to see if D8 how they're doing. They are the team that's on the chase here. I love Tornado Energy. It's very exciting. They are fighting it out with Liquid. But if we see members of DA struggling to leave this compound, that is going to be the death of them. We'll find out if that's the case. Sauna boys have just fallen. Phaser on the move. That's between Northern Lights and Ents. It could be just who picks up the points off the back of these players. Uber, Gustav, Fuzzface, all on the move. All trying to get into that next area that could provide some slight essence of safety, but there really isn't much out here.
Yeah, map knowledge now is so vital. You can see they've taken a ridgeline. They'll be able to build themselves a wall with the vehicles that they have. Same scenario, unfortunately, for Na'Vi. I mean, hell, this shack is just going to prove to be the only last standing bit of land they can really take. They'll keep the vehicles at least, so that's something. DA on the move. They've opted to take this on foot. Now, if TE can feed all this information back to the rest of the roster, they could just track them. Track them, kill them from above, and it's job done. Oh my god, one good grenade would spell utter disaster for DA if it was perfect. Do they have the information for TE? That's the bigger question.
Nice little shot. Yeah, you're right. I don't think Tornado Energy will know this. They're separated by that hillside that Batulins was on earlier. And Tornado Energy using the same approach as Northern Lights. We've had interviews with Tornado Energy discussing that they like some of the styles that Northern Lights brings. And now can you imagine if DA had this compound? If they'd taken it when they wanted it and didn't die in the process? That's the difference here. Now Northern Lights have it because they read the rotation better. They understood the timing to hit. Simply a better call and better timing, but they are now seeing a player knocked. Batulins may be a little too proactive with the peak, but he's in a similar scenario. Fuzzface knocked and pretty isolated. I don't know if Uber and Gustav can make it over there too easy to help him out. You can see Uber trying to keep them at bay, but these boys are getting a little bit peaky, a little bit cocky at this point. Northern Lights definitely not shy, but we are seeing DA take some fights here. That looks towards maybe Na'Vi or maybe even Redline, not sure. I want to keep my mind towards DA because they're the ones who are looking to try and do well in this game. If game one goes poorly, the odds become I'd say almost impossible if Northern Lights have a good game.
RV have been shooting at that for quite some time. With level 3 gear, they'll happily just take a quick peek, see if they can window it. Fuzzface falling down. FaZe clan slowly but surely being picked away, and again, it's because of multiple teams. Vehicles still in abundance here for DA. They will just teeter on the edge of the circle, maybe try and get a better angle and a better approach onto the side of Na'Vi and make it in there. With Chris going down from a different angle altogether, a little bit of pressure is being relieved from the bystanders here. They've been a nuisance for quite some time and just working against one another. Another thing on Northern Lights that you just need to really make note of is like how dangerous it can be to be up at that top point. You know what? I'm going to stop just because it's going to get a little bit chaotic, but yeah, from being up on the hillside to scout it to then move in, a second that all of a sudden we see ETG leave, like it's a fantastic maneuver and one that they just got in front of DA4. We'll see how that goes faring down the game as Oma can decide to get going. Yellow will fall from this fight that's been happening for quite some time, and honestly, Blammy, I think it's just time to full send it here, buddy. This has been going on way too long. It's job done. Shift W can carry on, but Brexco has unfortunately fallen. Kill your Kai at the front. Omakan is knocking at the door.
Okay, I do know that Tornado Energy are getting a lot of kills here. If they can keep this up, we've seen that TE can frag. There's never been a dispute towards that. It's that consistency we're looking for, and it's evaded them slightly this tournament, but they're still in third. I mean, holding them to a very high standard. So again, eyes towards it. I think they've got 7 kills already, potentially. So again, this is a big game for them, and they're putting up numbers early. Omakan, and as you noted, Shift W still trying to have this battle in toward the blue, but TSM finding a couple of the scraps of win streak as they try to make their way forward, slightly further south from this fight, but not by a great deal. Looks like Zocker's looking for his options, and I've got to be honest with you, Rich, there aren't many.
It's really limited, which, to be fair, could be a fair few that are going to be in a similar position as soon as this circle updates. We'll see where it's going to be faring. Kind of game we got a hold of us. Now, for DA, it's time to put those vehicles to good use. For Na'Vi, I mean, they can just sit in there like a turret and just keep playing into Digital Athletics, to be fair. They don't really have to do too much. Zocker goes down to the blue. No point will be found on that one. FaZe lose a second player. Again, T looking for as many frags as possible. That'll be an easy picking should they be able to get one over. Now that that's been found, that opens up all realms of possibility. That suggests to many teams where DA's position is. It's been noted. If Ents can even get on top of one of the vehicles or the roofs, they'll have a better eye line into it. Page is just full sending. If he somehow can't caught FaZe Clan mid-res, it will be devastating.
Example is having a game so far. I'm seeing his name, Alia, in the kill feed. Tornado Energy now starting to look like they're closing in towards DA. DA have been sleeping. It looks like they were out of sorts. Nice little tag there, but now TE on the move. They're going to make their move right here, right now. They're on the buggy. Page, luckily down for them. It looks like they might have just about... Oh no, Batulin's found Example. I thought they had an angle. I thought they had a little position. Now they've lost Example, but the other three, have they found that tiny ditch? I think it is. I think that's just enough safety for them for now. It's not much, and now DA are under fire. Mert's gone down to an 8. He's been knocked time and time again. He's going to be in all kinds of ways. This is DA. Look at this smash. Petralius, desperate to hold on. This is not pretty scenes for any DA fans. They're burning alive. But maybe the points can bring them back to life here as the tab still waits in the hut. Maybe the time's right to strike, and it is, but he goes down. Nice work in the end. Mert will fall, but Code Marco can potentially be recovered.
I'd be stunned. Absolutely stunned if they keep 3 alive. That is such a wild maneuver to push Na'Vi against it, especially when Ents on the backside. They must have just got the timing perfectly right and hit them when they went inside the shack. To lose 1 player on that transition, that is I'll take that any day of the week. They were well and truly up against it, so to be able to survive with 3 is phenomenal. The tags are still coming through with the AWM. The nades start to go over Team Liquid. It's time for them to move. With only 2 of them standing, they have all 4 members of Redline holding them under the gun, keeping them in check. Looks like they do have 1 vehicle at least, so the bike's there. Should they be able to try and just pull it over the road? But Redline themselves are looking for an entry point once they have to cross the road. Ents on the other side are just waiting for all oncomers. Like, the frags are going to eventually come their way. And for Redline, it's try and burn the boys out, find the snakes in the grass and see who's behind. With FaZe going, makes it a little bit easier for Tornado Energy. Gives them a bit more ground, a bit more stability for all but a moment. But it will be fragile. Circle updates, and it only keeps 1 team in. That is 1 priority compound in play. and everyone else left to play the edge.
We have the top 4 still alive in various states. Northern Lights, 4 standing. DA, 3. TE, 3. And Team Liquid, 2. And, well, I guess you could argue Northern Lights could shuffle in from their position, but it'll give them a very quiet position, but it's some safety. Tornado Energy already trying to move up. They've put Melman in a further forward position. Now, Spyro did get vision on it, and he knows the rest will be trying to cross this, so prepares himself for the rest. Already getting his eyes set towards where they were and where they want to go. Spyro now probably eyes drilled in. I don't know if Alia and Quizzy make it across here. And if you're DA and you hear these shots from the team that could have kept you further back, now is your time to move, and they have. Getting further into the circle, Spyro is punishing Tornado Energy here. The tap, tap, tap comes in. And Quizzy does just about make it. Okay, 2 now alive for Tornado. Oh, make it just 1.
That's not good. That's not good at all. Another victim falls, and it's the form of Team Liquid with a bike off the back of it, and it's job done. Redline and ENCE go toe-to-toe against them. But this also opens up for where Redline are going to be. ENCE should have a full eye line on that, with ETG laying in the grass and laying in wait. That could be very, very difficult. Melman forced 11 kills for T. That's pretty damn good. Northern Lights will step up to the plate. Code Marco is hot on the heels. To be able to take out the Northern Lights would be a fantastic feat for DA. Get them out a little bit early. Try and capitalize on the points that they've banked yesterday.
Okay. I mean, that angle looks so treacherous. Are they in? They must just be in. But look at the angle. It's like a little death pocket. It's just this tiny little area. We've got another pull-up, and surely going to be free farming. No, QBE on the trade. Nicely played from him, keeping tabs on Diggory, not letting him get free kills in, but Redline do go down nonetheless. And Melman trying to be relevant in this still, but look at the state of his gear. Vest cracked, helmet red, he's barely alive. He's lost all his teammates on this as well. Down to 5 teams though. We're getting towards the pointy end of the stick here. And it's the top 3 that are holding on for dear life. And honestly, Northern Lights' position, it's precarious, but it's worked out already. Smash goes down, making a mad play for it. Northern Lights get the circle. They have the circle positioning now that should keep them in this. ENCE don't have line of sight because it dips down slightly off the back of that road, and Northern Lights will perfectly place themselves amongst it. This should be the death of DA unless ENCE, Tornado Energy, ETG get involved.
So I understand the logic there. Smash is trying to take a bit more ground, get his team a better stance within the circle, and also maybe make something work with the down player that they initially got on the side of Northern Lights, but he left it too late. He left it till both players were up and running. Here comes the bombardment. They opt to deny the points. They know what's coming their way, so they'd rather just give it up to the blue than give it up to Northern Lights. I'm totally fine with that, but the Northern Lights keep charging forward. 4 players in play. ETG goes down. See you later, guys. We'll see you in the next round. Tornado Energy, Melman still has 1. No kills coming out of him while he's been here for some time, but overall 11 is not bad for T. He's kept him into the top 3, so I'm totally fine with that. ENCE, what is left in the bag? Because you are pinned. You are absolutely pinned in the roadside cafeteria. Northern Lights are just setting up on the road, like watching every single angle possible. Rustin Mar's gone out early, and Lou is getting behind.
Yeah, Northern Lights controlling 50% of this circle, and there's a world where you could have seen DA having this, because they went for the exact same compound just at the wrong time. Timing truly is everything in this. If ENCE can topple them, it'd be great for ENCE, because that mid-pack, around 7th place is exceedingly close. Divided by a couple of points here and there, but Northern Lights have such territory. They're in such a good spot when it comes to this. It's going to be very tricky to find a comfortable way to fight them. Unless ENCE still has exceedingly good gear, and maybe they do. They've been in a couple of fights, and they do get the center point of the circle. So the harder part for Northern Lights will be that roadside, to cross it into this. Now, Melman can play spoiler slightly. ENCE are very aware of his position, though. They seem all but too aware there's a man lurking on the outskirts, battered, broken, bruised. Melman, it might be time to look towards the blue here if he doesn't get anything given. Yeah, blue's the better option. Do not give teams additional points here. Today is not the day to be doing it, especially the Northern Lights.
And LT will be looking for an initial pick. Should they be able to land one of these nades, that'll be a phenomenal time to strike. They do have the advantage when it comes to manpower and gunpower, but the problem is the circle's unfavorable to them. The nades go down. If they are fake smokes coming out of ENCE, That is just a 9,000 IQ to try and drive the utility of Northern Lights away from them. Not entirely sure who smokes they are from either side, but regardless, all that utility has been committed by Northern Lights and no ground has been made yet. The circle is closing in.
They're mollying off the street.
Second
They're mollying off the side of the street. I love it. It's such a good idea. They have to either... You're basically choosing where they cross if they have to. That side is littered with smokes and molotovs. Perfectix finds an avenue, but it's very slender. It's a very slim approach. You can see the flashes coming in. They're going to make the push now. It's Rustamar to meet them, but with the explosion, it's done damage. Batulins just lays in Lou quickly with the MK. Oh, wow. Northern Lights. There's no better way to do it. These boys mean business. Big kill game, big positioning game. But for me, it was that move to the compound. Batulins being slightly separate from the group. He was slightly disconnected on that initial play when it was kind of over just towards the west side, those first couple of circles. Scouting ETG, leaving that compound, slipping in perfectly, gave them everything they needed to close out this game with a great deal of kills.
Look, they're coming into this as number one. They're starting the day off as they potentially mean to end this. A win on the board is so good for your confidence. The points to back it up as well. The execution throughout the entire process of that game was phenomenal. To be up on top of the cliffside, monitoring all the action down low. The circle was not favorable to them. They realized that there was a compound free. They capitalized. They move in. They take control. The execution at the end against Ents to cross that road, utilizing the smokes, and then just sending it straight to them. Phenomenal work. To pick up the frags in the final circle, as well as the win as well. Like...
yeah.
You couldn't ask for a better start if you're NLT. You really couldn't.
Yeah, very true. I think the desk can probably echo that and maybe even break down further what we just saw. So guys, have fun with this one.
James is muted. Cheeky.
Didn't listen to that mute.
Anyway, we had ourselves trench warfare at the end. We had a game of dodgeball at the end, and then Northern Lights decides to breach the trenches and completely dominate. As I said it yesterday, Martin, give them the trophy now because they are absolutely smashing this tournament out of the park.
Yeah, they started the day here with a 21-point lead, and then they start the first game of the day with a 21-point game. And also, Digital Athletics only got 6 points in that game, so they're in a massive lead right now. It's going to be extremely hard to catch them. I feel like it has to be 15 teams versus them, where they kind of jump them before it's going to be a different winner. But we'll see. Like, we're obviously going to follow up through today, and also there's a lot of interesting other moves. We have our set prize pool for our top 4. Our winners is getting 50,000, and then it's 30,000, 20 and 10, and then 5th and 8th get 6,400 each. So it's a different cutoff. Exactly, and it's a different cutoff from 8th to 9th place, and that's also going to be super interesting to follow. Intier had a really good game, and they could be very well separating themselves as well.
Yeah, this was the disaster for teams that wanted to try and push up, not only towards that first place, but also into that 5th through 8th. So people have got to be very, very cautious if teams like Ents are actually accumulating big points here if they want extra money. But for us, looking at how this game played out, obviously, Northern Lights had a little bit of grace with the circles for most of the game, but then towards the end, they then have to solve the problems of dealing with having to push out of the compound, dealing with moving across that road, and they did it really well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can take anything away from it. Sure, they got a little bit lucky with the end circles, maybe, but they didn't leave it to luck itself. They were always ready. They were always prepared to make a move from there if they needed to, and they were always on the move. We saw them early on, and I'm going to talk about that later, but how they were actually moving early on in the game. But also, of course, in the late game there, Ents had everything. They had the end circle on their side. All they needed to do was to hold out NLT from that push. They tried to do it. They tried to use a lot of utilities, but we saw that it wasn't good enough. It wasn't enough because NLT just did that perfectly, more or less.
Yeah, DA there towards the end as well, trying to, salvage the situation, a tough situation that they were pushed in. It looked like Code Marco was trying to deny a point towards the end, knowing that they're being bombarded by the team that they're trying to catch up with here, Martin. So any little small advantage that you can try and eke out, like a single deny there, is very important at this point when the team above you is what, 30, 40 points ahead now? Jeez.
Yeah, but no matter what, like any point is gonna matter here. It could come down to 1 point separating you from second to third, fourth. It doesn't matter. Like every point matters. If you're in a situation where you know, okay, there's no way I'm gonna potentially survive for longer or get another kill out of this, then the deny is completely viable. And I like to see that. That's kind of thinking ahead, and that could potentially gain you a bigger share of the prize pool as well. So that's completely fine by me.
There's the points coming on in, 9th through 16th. Not too many here down towards the bottom. It kind of symptomatic of the fact that there was a lot of open area in towards the later stages of these circles and not that much cover to work with. You could even see DA having to scramble for just a small ditch towards the end there. And then 1 through 8, we have 21 points coming in for Northern Lights, 16 points for Tornado Energy, who are looking for a little bit extra here. So catching up to DA by 10 points here after they gain themselves 6 for us. That's big for Tornado Energy.
Really big. I mean, they need everything they can do, and I think they might be propelling themselves to a second place with that one. And if so, the big question is, are they going to be able to catch up to NLT? It is really close on the top there, and with 3 games left, I mean, what are we going to see? I don't think we're going to see any hot drops from those teams because there's just too much on the line there, too much on the stake, and it's way too close between the teams. So it's going to be super rough and super hard for them to try to do anything.
Yeah, that might allow Tornado Energy to like catch up by like 1 point's difference between the two teams now, which is kind of crazy to say the least between those. And Northern Lights pumping out a ton of damage from the compound that they were able to secure here. But towards the end as well, as we were mentioning, very important for ENCE to get these points here, Martin, to try and solidify a barrier between them and 9th place and downwards. Now, I think they overtook Na'Vi as well, but are there any other ways that they can play out that final scenario, or is it just because we saw the utility spam coming in and it wasn't successful for them in the end?
No, like no matter what, like if you go into the complete details with that one, Northern Lights had to cross the road, right? And they were also in a upper hand situation with being 4 guys alive, and ENCE only were 3. So already they're in a complete advantage. And no matter how much use and how much utility you can use on this one, it's gonna be a rough one. They also decided to split completely out on a line, 1-1-1 split, with no chance of a refrag or a lurk or anything to kind of open it up or anything, because in a situation like that, you need to get the first knock, and then you need, if that player gets knocked, you need to be able to refrag that immediately as well. So it kind of comes down to the opening and how they executed that, the smokes and the utility that they had. It would have been good to see if they had a molly knock or a nade to kind of open up to even out the odds, but they were in a 4 versus 3 situation. It's just super rough. But I like to see how well Northern Lights executed and how well ENCE was able to use the utility, because they actually knew that if we can kind of leave and close down one flank on our left side, that means they're going to come from that molly and to the right around. But what they didn't know was that there was only one guy that kind of, or they knew, they had an idea and they were checking about it. There was already a molly down, and one of the guys from Northern Lights, they were able to sneak past it. So it made it even harder for them because they had to keep guessing where their other players were.
All right there, Frost. Little cheeky.
Yeah, sorry.
How are we doing? Are we able to take a look at the map is my question.
Yes.
Nice. Let's do that. Let's take a quick gander at what Frost is going to talk about.
Yeah, so this was one of the key points to why NLT actually won the game, and we want to take a look at this as Pansy was talking about. Balin, he's already up here, and he's going to be scouting down towards this compound. But what we don't see in the scenario is that when the circle is closing in here, just a few seconds around here, the rest of the team is already in the vehicles, and they're already on the way going down south there. And you can see how they're already moving. That's before the circle pops. And Balin is scouting the compound. He sees that they're leaving. He's telling them, guys, the compound is all free. Just take it. He's going to stay up here. He's going to stay up there and keep on just scouting around, make sure no one else is going for it while the team is driving up to it. And this gave them so much time, and this is why they played so well. Look, Balin just walks down afterwards, no problem at all. And they got one of the best compounds to play from in the circle itself. of course, we do know that the circle ended there, but no matter what, this would have been a phenomenal compound to play from, even if it would shrink away from in the next circle.
Even still, obviously, we saw Etiga having a 2-2 split across this, Martin. Do you think that Northern Lights would have been... I mean, even if Etiga hadn't left necessarily, crashing into a 2-2 split with 3 or maybe even 4, there's still success there for the potential.
You know what I'm questioning even more? I'm actually going to jump into the map as well, because that's it's actually something that is it's kind of crazy as well. Is that when you are Digitalytics, right, and you're looting this specific area, and you know that we have these tendencies in this situation here, they're out. You see here, they're out scouting. They already they left the compound. And they're out scouting, and they're looking towards that compound that Etiquette is in, and also their battalion is also putting pressure on them. And also, like in circle 2, when we're here, they're not 2-2 splitting. This is literally their area, right? Like they're literally looting starting here, and you're 2-2 splitting in a compound where it really extremely rarely ends close to. Like I want to see them in Ence's compound, or in the gas station, or in Etiquette's compound, where we more often see endings like that. But they weren't able to, unfortunately, and like it's just super rough for them. Like I'm sad to see that, honestly. I wanted to see a different split with that. It's a home turf circle, and they should have taken advantage of that.
So kind of just a lapse in judgment about where they're taking residency early on in this game, effectively.
Correct.
Interesting. Well, thank you very much, guys. Good breakdowns. And that is how things sit right now from our first game. Obviously, DA wasn't able to get a decent swath of points that they really wanted to off the back of that here, Froz, which now, again, I joked about it at the end of yesterday, and I joked about it just now, but Northern Lights is so many points ahead. It is getting nigh on impossible for these teams to catch up unless the stars align here, Froz.
I mean, that's the thing, right? You want to have one of the teams, you have to stop Northern Lights before the game even starts, more or less. You got to start doing something against them. Like, you can't just wait, because we know that Northern Lights, if you don't stop them yourself, no one else will, and they will be in the end game. Not only that, but you know, they might even get themselves another chicken dinner and might get even more points. So you have to do something about it. But the problem is, for both DA and Tornado right now, is that they're so close to each other that if Tornado goes for it, they might lose people. Then they're going to be the underdog against DA and vice versa. So none of these teams wants to do this. They want someone else to take care of Northern Lights for them, more or less.
I don't know how it happens, though, Martin. What's the solution for any other team?
The only solution is that Team Liquid goes absolutely ham and takes over Digitalytics and Tornado Energy and tries to hunt down Northern Lights. Because right now they're 26 points ahead of 5th, which is very, like, a lot for 3 games, right? But they have to make a dream run to get into 3rd or 2nd and potentially take down Northern Lights as well, right? It's we're talking 3 wins with 10 plus kills in each, and Liquid is, again, as I said, they're 15 points behind, 26 points ahead. They're the only team in the situation right now where they can be kind of in a reckless playstyle, because the other 2 teams, like, there's a 1 point difference of $10,000 right now. Like, it's literally $30,000 and $20,000, right, from 2nd to 3rd. So it's 1 point different right now, and they want to play their hearts out to make sure that they get the most out of that one.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. And for DA and Tornado Energy, those 2 teams right now have to have 3 big pop-off games if they want to try and catch up and claim the championship here. For DA, it might be a little bit of a heartbreaker at the end of this if they came so close to being able to get themselves that championship after what we've seen from them past couple of days, after everything that they've changed, and then obviously they would end up in 2nd place if things continue how they do. And Northern Lights right now looking super, super strong. It's interesting just looking in general, though, for the middle pack of this table as a whole. A lot of our big names there kind of had very middling results throughout the tournament. Nothing too flashy here and there from a Na'Vi, a TSM, an Omicron, etc.
Yeah, a lot of these teams have been struggling, and we touched a little bit about it yesterday, and it comes down to them kind of only having one sort of playstyle, and they've been just going for that one. But because we have so many different playstyles, we don't have a defined meta here in Europe right now, that once you do that, you're going to get countered by so many other teams. But what we see from the top teams is that they have several different playstyles they're adapting to from game to game, depending on what the other teams are doing, what the situation they're in themselves. And because of that, they're able to just make sure that, okay, we're going to be ahead of the game, no matter if we just get a few points. That's at least not a 0 to 1 point game. And that's what matters.
All right, who can stop this careering locomotive of Northern Lights from smashing towards the championship? We're about to find out. It's our second game of the day. Let's get into it. It's Miramar.
It is indeed the last chance to dance on this map, so these teams need to make it count. If you feel more comfortable here, if you're DA, you're probably sweating bullets. You got hot drops waiting for you in map 2, so you kind of want to do well here. And after that game where hesitation cost you potentially the best compound in it, as Martin said, and as we kind of highlighted it happened, they were scouting that compound, but they just never took it at the right time. ETG was still there, and they didn't fancy the crash. So we go back in now. Northern Lights just kind of taking the lead a little further, confirming that, yeah, we're going to keep doing this, guys. We're not relenting. This will continue now. And I also like the point they brought up, Rich, that Liquid technically can take some bigger risks. And it's purely because they're not in that second and third race just yet. So technically they could push a little harder here if they wanted to.
Actual hot drops and pre-defined hot drops have been done before, where you're going for an opponent that you want to potentially jump and beat. Whether they work out is a different question altogether. You can see Ibiza is actually just disconnected a little bit from the rest of the roster. Whether or not that's his usual thing, and he likes to go off and get a vehicle and usually comes back to it. But I was wondering if maybe he just goes a little bit further afield, keeps a track of what's going on, and sees how things are going to be landing. Gustav and Mert, just let's be aware that the vehicles are rather close to one another and we might get a bit of an early scuffle. That's kind of what becomes the reality now, is that for the teams that are lower down the board, they're just playing for money. Points mean prizes. If they can go take out a team that's above them, if they can go pick up some free fragging points, they absolutely will do that. That's free money in their pocket. For other ones, a bit more of a passive play style comes into effect. Now for DA, the question is, has that cost them? At certain points where we would anticipate a DA push or a DA pull-up, so to speak, and just a full send, that's Chris playing a guitar, looking rather happy. What do you think he's playing?
Vivaldi. Very classical music, man. That PC looks sick in the background. What?
He's just having a good time, isn't he?
There he is, old Chris. I've got to say, if anything, casting the last, couple of weekends of this just reminds me why I like PUBG. You know what I mean? The community's excellent, the players, there's so many personalities that truly are worth celebrating. So it's been an absolute blooming honor to do it. So it's been a good laugh. So Mert, let's see how he does. He was having a rough game last time. He got knocked so many times, and I don't even want to say it's his fault. Sometimes it's just how the game goes. But if anyone's getting picked, Mert's knocked again. It's like, oh gosh, it makes you feel for him a little bit. But with the Northeast Circle, this does bode a little bit trickier for some of the teams. I know Liquid used to struggle a little bit with these rotations, but there's no one directly in front of them, so I'm curious to see how their route of rotation will be. It is a Northeast Circle, of course, here, Rich. Where do we look towards these? I mean, we've got a water treatment area in here, kind of I guess some of the east is still a bit playable, where Ents currently are. There's a couple of common circles.
Yeah, I mean, it's like yesterday when we spoke about with a circle like this, I like to kind of talk about more where it won't go. I think that's the better from an IGL stance. If you put yourself in there, it's okay, well, we know where it's absolutely not going to be. And somewhere around Torre Moada, yes, we do get circles in and around there, but it's few and far between, a very low percentile that would actually get something up that way. So you kind of cut a line from the top, maybe outskirts of Oasis, and go all the way and skirt round El Azhar. So cut that top northeast side of the map off completely. At least, there is a chance, but it's a low one, and pull further forward. If you're going to be other teams looking at that, remember you got the 3 peaks that are just above Minas Generales that will always be in play, and bump it around somewhere. Be me. Hearing vehicles in abundance. A little gap in the wall here. What do you see? Where's the information? You noted there is multiple enemies that are going to be at your doorstep. Where's the rest of the team? That's the question. Are they in a position where they can back you up should this go absolutely sideways? Ibis in the distance is also heading here, so clearly QB and Co want to solidify this for themselves.
Beamy, careful now. Yeah, tuck back in. Wait for support to arrive. Oh my god, the nade. It's good. Marv's got it. That's going to be the go signal. Get in there. Pile the hell in. WS has just turned up as well. We've got three teams now fighting for this area. And Flammy's now isolated, having to deal with the vast majority. Yellow's dead every day of the week. The Wanderer's going to find that. The AK just bouncing the recoil so perfectly. Short tries to trade, but all he's showing is a headshot, so you got to be careful. Molly's now coming out, and WS is staying as 4 here. They still have all players up. Check the corner. Up and over we go. Goodbye, bystanders. Hello, WS. Welcome to the party, pal. We've got a red line as well now, finding bigger angles than the Wanderer. Oh, the nade dropped out of his hand. He's going to be blown up. Not by his own nade, by one of the boys flushing him quickly.
This is a massive action at the start, and it does ring a lot of alarm bells for teams that are looking around into this one. Tornado Energy are just off to the west, TSM are down to the south, and Shift W are live and kicking over by the east. They are all looking at this for a potential position, more importantly to the northern side or even the central side of the circle, should it be favorable and come down towards the south. More importantly, that is 3 points in the bag if they can knock any of these players. They're going to be weakened, they're going to be in a battle. The third-party potential is absolutely there. Chris and Zoka hold forward. Rexco and Kilyakai could move up. The crate's going to be theirs for now. We'll see how that kind of fares. DA on the transition, so goes Team Liquid. Northern Lights in this mix also. Backside of TSM with a 2-2 split. ETG already set up, ready, willing, and able to take a fight should Liquid turn into this one. The damage is done. The commitment may come through. We'll see if Mexi actually goes behind on this one and pulls up behind, because if they do, they definitely will commit. Mexi decides to turn and face as Chris is also on the hill. This is just the Death Valley. Has to turn and run away from this one, Team Liquid. They're going to have to back off. With 2 players sub 50% on transition, you don't want to be losing somebody early. They opt for go. The lower compound, DA is already up there. Those shots are from a different team altogether. Both of these teams at the moment struggling to find a solidified place to stay.
DA look lost, Rich. They look lost for a first rotation point. I guess it's secondary options here. They were on a very similar path to Liquid, and they've ended up right at the doorstep of Liquid. I'm worried that DA are floundering a little in these final moments.
It's money, right? And this is what I mean, like the usual DA play that they became so famous for, and what works so well of just charging in head first like a bull in a shop, and all of a sudden the confidence is no longer with them. I think that's the best way to look at them. They're just like, what do we do? Where do we go? I don't really know. Like, find a place on the map and then decide from there. Don't just flounder around in the middle of nowhere. I kind of feel sorry for him, because this is definitely not the DA that we've been seeing up until this weekend. There's been confidence, there's been skill, there's been a lot of clear communication and teamwork. I mean, hell, they've drafted in, I believe, a new coach for the team. I was seeing it on social media the other day. They're there together on LAN. The communication and the play should be very clear and decisive. There should be something that you need to do. If there isn't, and there's a backup plan and it falls all goes to sideways, then fair play. They have opted to go for a 2-2 split on the lower side of the map. TSM also 2-2, Northern Lights 2-2. So they're taking very, I say 2-2, it's close, but it's still sparsely separated. Sauna Boys and Navi off towards the western side, with Omakan coming in very, very late down south. Tony Moada, you will see FaZe Clan all the way to the north, and then over by the east, a few stragglers, or a few late arrivals from Pink Ponies and Ents. Maybe that's the next team that kicks it off one another. You can see Vampire is, unfortunately, on enemy territories when it comes to Ents, just on the footholds of the hill to them. And Omakan, do you play spoiler here to either Liquid or DA? Do you accidentally stumble upon them on transition? Tixu heavily damaged. Has a quick peek and does back off. Vampire does exactly the same. Does not want any of this in the vehicle. Give it up for the greater good. Job done. See you later. Bye-bye. Regroup with the roster and try and stay alive. Remember, they are a team that's down towards that latter end of the board, and playing for money is vital. Playing for your life at this stage in the game is crucial. Circle updates, and it actually hits towards those teams that we were speaking about earlier on. Liquid, Northern Lights, DA. Now it's time to central up. But what's left? What remnants of the map can you collect that no one else has taken early?
Okay, I'm looking at this one, and DA have decided to kind of congregate back together slightly, but it's going to put them in the eyesights of Omicron, and I want to look at Gemty and T-Bone if they spot this. There is, I think, a hillside there that they're currently on, so it may not be completely visible, but Ibby split off for Liquid as well, so maybe a bit of that boldness that we were discussing that could be a possibility coming into play now, coming into action. Northern Lights going to get Hacienda. They're probably quite happy with this. DA, okay, I know which compound they're at now. That makes more sense now. I see it visually. Code Marco, Smash Metralius, now joined by Merc, going to come through. Omicron will take the hillside that rolls off the back of it, so you've got to be a little careful of that one. They will have some decent vision towards this, but I'm still looking at Northern Lights because Hacienda is quite hard to keep vast control of. It's why they're not just sitting centralized. They're kind of sitting around the compound because you can get snuck up on. You can see the kind of divots and ditches and the defilades that allow kind of sneakier passage through. So I like that from them, and you've got Spyro a little bit further forward as well. Not bad. Now, we want to look at Tornado Energy as well. That's water treatment for them. They've gone for that compound, opting to be towards the north. That was where they kind of entered on the circle. They were more on the northern portion with likes of FaZe and WS and Redline. So them staying up there is not that surprising. It will garner a lot of attention, though, so they might suffer a knock, but I doubt they lose all four.
Axie should go down. Squeaky, easy solidification on that. 3 point in the bank. Thank you very much. Hacienda, yeah, to kind of fall back to it and talk about it a little bit more. It is a good compound in the fact that there's so much ground coverage, and you have so many eyes that you can put all over the place. The fact that you can get on the roofs and just kind of wander around. It's ever so slightly elevated, so this will give Northern Lights quite a large amount of land, but as you mentioned, the defensive stance of it is very difficult. It's so big, that's why in public matches you have so many players that drop on it, because you know you're going to get action, because you can get in there, get a gun, and maybe survive for up to a minute to try and fight it through. They're also in this 2-2 split. They'll go further down towards the roadside to try and capitalize on the ground they've been given. So they are heavily split. Should a team want to push straight into Hacienda, they won't be able to fight it directly with a full force. The rest of the team will have to regroup back to them, take the battle head on, and it's a bit of a sprint to initially get there if they all just pull up. But again, by the amount of sight and the amount of land that they can see around them, there should be early warning signs of being pushed on upon. The only real question to that one is Na'Vi, but Na'Vi aren't the type of team that like to just go dive bombing it square into a compound. They're preemptive, they read the map, they're meticulous in their approaches. Ibby disconnected ever so slightly from the rest of Team Liquid is a little bit concerning, but I understand the mentality of what he's trying to achieve here by being there. He's a first point of contact for teams on transition. He can call this into the rest of Liquid and maybe get the support that he needs. If the circle comes down towards the south, then again, he could maybe just compose something for the rest of the roster and direct them to where they need to be. Circle closing in 5 seconds. And honestly, with so many players alive at this stage, this could be a fun one. I have no idea. We get the hard shift. It goes down towards the south. The question is for DA, for Liquid. Do you stand your ground and take kills on transition, or do you go deep inside the circle? Northern Lights, it's time to go.
Yeah, Ibby, get out of there. If you don't want to take on 4 players, move. And he is moving. Back on the bike, get out of there. Good choice. The Sauna boys are coming in as well. Hold on, this could be a problem. Northern Lights are about to get crashed. Batulin stills with Nuki. They cannot suffer a loss at this point, but if you're DA, if you're Liquid, you are paying attention to this. These are teams you want gone, and that's going to be Lou down and flush. No res available. Mista, Sikora, Anonymous. This was just their attempt. Oh, Batulins is gone as well. Spyro and Perfectix suddenly feeling the pressure, feeling under strain. Spyro now being chased around, but it's a ring of roses. Round we go. Perfectix's nades found Misa, and Spyro just chasing him up the stairs. He wants this. Anonymous just dodging and weaving. Nicely done, just to get out of dodge, get out of the building. And Clibs caught Anonymous, making it easier for Northern Lights. Not the target he probably would have wanted there, but he'll take the points no matter which way you want to cut it.
And that shows you how much of an angle that Liquid potentially may have into this. If they know that Northern Lights is heavily damaged, like all tanked up, there is a potential they push into this. Sakura is the last man standing here for the Sauna boys. If he can get Misa up, it'll be job done. But with a nade going in, that could be devastating. Second one to follow up as well. I'm seeing burning on the floor. There is death in abundance in that shack. One more nade could be the job done. Sakura somehow stays alive, and that's because he's jumped on top of the boxes. Okay. That's good for now. Would the nade splash damage do the job? He doesn't. He still stays alive. I see 2 players from FaZe fall down simultaneously. The smokes will have to come up, and Shift W's already pressing across the road upon them.
Yeah, Shift W don't want to let this get away from them at all. They started this, and Brexico's pushing it, but he's in trouble from a further angle. He's going to be trying to deal with one more. Brexico, he's right next to him. Fuzzface is in that smoke. Peekaboo, goodbye. Fuzzface finds him so quickly, and what a horrible surprise lurking on the other side, but there's now a nade coming in. A little too deep. Fuzzface gets to live to fight another day. This man went and did that dirty 1v2. He could certainly do it again, but so many eyes are on this now. Another molly comes in. It's all getting a bit treacherous now.
The nade follows up, and he's already damaged again with the smokes blooming. Sometimes
Redliner
it does
crashing
just...
the same compound. Hold on.
Oh,
Redline, are they
it's
moving in
so
towards
messy.
Northern Lights?
They're looking at it. They're in the field.
No,
There's no one else really for them to go.
Just off. Okay. I thought they were carrying on. Okay. Okay. A little bit of a breath. Again, I look towards the top. A lot of kills coming in, but these are more mid-table, lower-end table. WS and Pink Ponies at the very bottom right now, next to the bystanders. This could be a little bit of a pride battle and a little bit of a cash battle, potentially, but for now, Offspring does stay alive with 3 good kills. Aim might take him down. Having a little bit of a peek towards it. Now, we do have... Oh my, don't we have some fun coming in. Tornado Energy are not in the current circle that's just hit. So they're going to be forced to move, which opens up a chance for DA, Na'Vi, TSM, Northern Lights, and the Sauna Boys to maybe get a fight. If they try and swing northeast, they can't do that. It's not an option. Just straight across the road for them. This battle rages on, but I look at Tornado Energy on the chase. Seeing the lights of Northern Lights struggling, and DA and Tornado Energy next to each other, that is a tantalizing prospect.
Before we go further, we'll see some of these fights out and see how they end. We do have to talk about this, the lay of the land for this type of circle. Pink Pony's eliminated. 2 players do get the job done. PSM has turned up to red line. Oh, that's a banger of a shot. Quick lean, and QBE says bye-bye. Won't be an easy finish just yet because the rest of TSM are not here. Nail up and 2 players are going to be pushing through. Clib. No flush available just yet. Instant switch onto Mexi. They'll be able to get him back on his feet unless he crawled inside the fire. He has the capitalization here for the Northern Lights. It's time to spring into action. The flashbangs are down. 3 players on the back line. Perfectix going round the corner. Perfectix is being found though by James and Ibby. They see him simultaneously to be able to finish this last player.
They're done.
Did they just get him? They're done. Okay, 12th position for the Northern Lights. Game on for a few teams. Yes, they had a 36-point lead coming into this, but certainly a sub-10th position will not fare them any better.
Yeah, this stops that gap growing larger now. If DA or Tornado Energy push hard this game, and they're in, well, DA's in a good position to do that, we suddenly have a game on our hands, and Liquid are fighting this. They have been proactive, and I love that timing from them to move up to that compound in the right time. TSM on the other side too. I want to see how Melman and Quizzy make it across. That to me is the next big question. Fuzzface is still alive somehow. He is just, you know, the man who's too angry to die, you know what I mean? He's just chilling out by himself right now. Zocker and Kilyakai do have to come past. This is outside of the circle, keep in mind, so with that blue moving forward, it's going to get a little bit tricky at this point. But I want to see what Quizzy and Melman do. That's the big question mark to me, because they do have Alia across and Example across. They've already made it through the journey, and while everything was popping off, it's probably the right time to do it. There's the Bushwookie spotted. Nice shots from Fuzzface. This guy, he's always an impressive player to watch as an individual, and now he can play that individual game. Maybe a point grab here. Good flashes, going to move up, try and just get him out of the blue. Say, hey, you're not denying points. Get away from it. Quick little shot. Nicely done by Fuzzface. Yeah, again, WS may kill him, but he's done well here again. Nicely done.
Couple of free points. WS are going to spring into action. That should be laying him to rest, but he's done as much as he possibly can as a solo man. WS continue onwards, but the Blues here, so they have to be quick. The ditch that Tornado Energy are actually holding is very, very fragile. It's the one where it's completely open exposed. You could go a little bit deeper, but all you have are the vehicles and the rocks to play with. The advantageous point of this, all right, never mind, you've got DA who can actually see into it, so it doesn't matter whatsoever. Provided the smokes can give him some cover, they should be able to get back on their feet. Na'Vi are directly behind them as well. I was going to say, if there was anything that was going good for this position, is that they're actually ahead of Liquid and TSM. So if they have to cross the road and try and go for this one, because you wouldn't crash DA, you wouldn't hit that building head on. It's fortified from the front. So in theory, you try and go around it if you are Team Liquid or TSM.
My God.
Or the circle just decides to go to the north anyway and potentially keep them all in.
All right, so now Liquid need to find a way through. They've got TSM in front of them, and even TSM don't have... If that nade landed, my God. So they could shuffle up a bit, sure. James is not loving this. James is really not loving this. Tornado Energy are in. Oh, there's Offspring. Big shots. Very long angles in this. Now you can see the rest of Liquid kind of adjusting, looking around. Mexi's like, hey, calm down, mate. Get off our teammate. No. And Offspring, I don't think's noted where Mexi was. He's got a good idea now as he sees the vehicle popping off, but he wants the points. Wants to win prizes, and Mexi and Ibby make the move. They're going to head off right now, looking where they go. Ents and Omakun. I'm surprised Arustamar found that. No kills yet for DA. The thing with being in a compound like this, it's hard to convert, but Miraku's already done it. That's Metralius now. Not flushed, but soon to be. There it is. Down, dead, gone. They needed a big game here, DA. That has to be, you know, like the 10-point kill game plus the first place position. Same for TE. If they want a good scenario out of this, has to be a big result. Cannot be a quiet win. We hold them to very high standards now. With the bike pulling up, they know someone's here. Offstring now going to be on red alert.
See if this nade goes through, but we mentioned about DA holding front and really not allowing people to cross the road, Lauren. I think they got tunnel visioned on Liquid driving away. Mert and Smash diverted their attention, and TSM just decided to strike. They lose a player while doing so. Okay, now they've been able to kind of focus fire back towards it. Squeaky trying to look for the final player from WS, not realizing he's downwind of it all. Has to be careful as he just kind of shows himself over this hill. He will be very much open to all the bullets from down low and the SLRs that will be in abundance. X being one of them, seeing this at first glance. But yeah, that's the bigger story. DA have held a really good position, but they've not managed to bag any kills yet. And by losing someone earlier on, by being so tunnel visioned into Liquid driving by to pick up the frag, they've unfortunately traded off and lost somebody without any kind of answer back. Offstring goes down. Besto finds Quizzy. This position is just all kinds of bad. Na'Vi have made note of it for quite some time. They held the compound behind this. And all of a sudden, the bombardment of the grenades will open up. There's nowhere really for Na'Vi to go, especially with ETG on their right-hand side. Senyu going down makes it all that much more difficult. Put the smokes up, deny the vision for TE, and maybe just hit them with everything you've got. This will be the last stands for Na'Vi, so you've got to try and make it count.
Tab and Besto, the two to do it. They're a little bit maybe preoccupied by Omakun and ETG, which I don't blame them. Omakun has masses of high ground, and ETG have a lot of space between them and the circle. So Na'Vi are a little bit, you know, puzzled by this, and it's Tornado Energy fair to be given a second to consider. Now, Mexi's on the move, going to try and join up with Ibby. Nice play towards the circle. Again, there's 1 point between DA and Tornado Energy. Neither have been able to kind of breach that just yet, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 172, 171. And that, I think Martin said it was 10k difference. And to see someone like Tornado Energy without a kill yet, quite surprising. Normally able to convert a good couple of frags here and there. And these shots from Vazku, beautiful. This is not close range, and there's one of the players for Na'Vi going down. Melman's been lost, and again, no kills coming in for Tornado Energy or DA. Struggling. So in this moment, you have the opportunity to get a game up on Northern Lights, essentially. They have gone down without being able to convert too many kills. 3 points, right? That's it, really. So then you look, okay, well, we've got a game to jump up. Maybe if we have a really good game, 10 kills, first place, you know, a good 20-point game or so, sick. Exactly what's required. It's not happening. They are fumbling their one chance of doing this. TSM now moving across, getting themselves into the fight. Where do they go? Right? It's Tornado Energy. They're going to hear these shots. Are they trying to ignore this? That is bold. ETG dying in the fields, but to neither of the teams that are desperate for the points. This is madness going on, Rich.
Everyone's playing edge and they're scared to go center, and honestly, I don't blame them. With Tornado Energy dying as they, or at least one of their players dying as they arrive there, they know that someone's position has definitely been noted in the form of Ibby. Alia will continue onwards, and maybe if you can just get to the foothold there. Mexi cycles towards the lethal utility. One grenade could solidify it and maybe just alleviate some pressure from Ibby. Utility committed on this side as well. TSM went a little bit earlier, but the fire, the flames, it's all down. It's all deadly. Ira's burning as well. 1-2, thank you. Miraku by the smidging of his life. The bike just goes, it just goes flying through the air.
1 kill.
But finally, now we'll actually see DA starting to come alive. They're using the position that they have into TSM.
Bird's pushing.
If they turn and face this, they're behind them. That's Mert and Marco. If they get Miracle, they then fall onto Tornado Energy.
Here we go.
This is the time to do it. They need these points. They need them now. This is when you strike.
Okay, they could directly deny this because I think Tornado Energy are about to jump. If they push just a touch further, They might jump DA, but actually Code Marco and Mert, looks like they're peeling away from this. Maybe too much attention from Omicron. They don't like it. They don't want any of that. Yeah, back into the smokes they go. So Tornado Energy they got a couple of kills from this. They took down some of TSM. They've taken down some members of other teams, but Ents also got dealt with by DA. Now Melman's turned attention. But how much is he paying to this one? I'm sure Omicron are pumping out damage, but to be able to flush these kills, very tricky. It's just kind of the double-edged sword and smash with a great shot towards Page. Beautiful Heady coming out with that SKS, just bounding bullets towards him. And the circle's not bad for DA. It's not great, but it's good for the likes of Liquid, for example. They're happy with this. Very centralized. Tornado Energy on the move already. Melman going to make his way further forward slightly. Example trailing behind.
I kind of feel sorry for Omicron because the ground that they had, you do have that advantageous high ground coming out of the backside of it, and they've just not been allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
Anything at all. All it's done is kept Ents back and put them in the predicament, what you've just seen in the replay. Allowed DA just to open up with the SKS, and it's bye-bye 1-2, thank you. Maybe smidgen of life. Instantly denied by Jempty. Bullet comes down. T-Bone, time to step up. Mex is there. He does still have some utility. Easy run over. Thank you very much. Crushes him. Mexi sees all this go. Oh, he run his teammate over. Is it time to go? Yes, it absolutely is. Molly over, then follow up with a grenade.
Mexi!
This could be super nasty.
It's got him. Fire.
It's got him.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh my god, this is absolutely atrocious. Melman's gone down now as well. What is going on? This is a clown fiesta. Mert's turned up. He's got Melman down. That's a point in their pocket. A direct deny against the team opposing them. Mexi's still alive, and Omicron. I can't believe they made such a mess of that.
Big error. Big, big error. But huge just spring ball coming out of Mexi. Responds instantly. Flashbang completely white. That thing's going to hit him for 6. Tixu comes in, puts him out of his misery. Vascu at least. The two of them back on the feet. Now they can look onwards of TE. And for DA, while they've not had as many kills as what we were kind of hoping, only 4 so far, they at least have the hard cover. And they have more bodies in play than any other team. If they work together, they can win this, and that's the 10.
Okay. But Example's still alive, and he's still a problem. You can see that Example is playing for no one's attention. He wants to stay as quiet as possible, play late as he can. Now, this will force DA to leave the area they've been utilizing, and it's quite flat as an area to leave. Smash uses the vehicle to get up, for example. It's a bit too treacherous to run. There's a little bit of, area to play with. You can see the backside of this little mound is where they might try and play off. Tixu could be a downfall to that, and it looks like Smash is very aware that someone could be over there. Jempty's still very cognizant of potential players down in this sort of ditch, and right to be using the molly. Example's in a bit of trouble here now. He's going to try and get the stim off, the heal off, and deal with his HP dwindling. Another molly now coming in. He's surely dead in the water here. Nowhere to back away to. And yes, confirmed. Tornado Energy unable to convert more, but they do jump as it stands. DA getting themselves that little additional. We'll put them in second, but we'll see what DA are able to garner from this. 4 kills. Now a couple more. 5 back on towards this. Now if they close out with a win and plus 2 kills, the gap gets smaller, and Northern Lights may have to be a bit cautious as to how do they approach Erangel. But it has been a problem for DA. Their spot was already taken. But let's look at what we have. Omicron pretty a little, I'd say, frustrated. Excellent positioning. Good conversion rate. 9 kills. Very respectable. But they could have done so much with that. I'm sure their damage is off the charts here. Now Mert and Smash trying to utilize the rest of this hillside. They have less to play with than Omicron for now. And I want to see what they do. Oh, Code Marco, careful now. Headshot comes in, instantly put it back, and you can see Omicron. They are zeroed in just right.
And it's kind of scary. Like, if there's 2 players that I wouldn't want to be going up against an Omicron, it's Jempty and Vascu. Vascu is a marksman in his own right. The things that man can do with a bolt action is disgusting. With a ground like this, all right, it's a mini, it's not a bolty, but still, he can land those shots. And Jempty is just a god in his own right. It's like any given time of the week, he can just step up, challenge people 1 versus 1, and he just becomes a beast in his own individuality. Vasco's still holding. This might give Jempty the option to approach and go further forward. again, with the position that they have, the might ever so slight elevation. The cover's there, though. It's allowed one player to get to the hillside. I do like that a lot, to be able to just put down suppressive fire and get Mert much deeper into the circle. Now, it all comes down to Omakan to make the first mistake. They're the ones that have to make the move, unless that molly somehow lands by the feet of Mert. Cooks him alive. It's actually just on the left-hand side.
Oh, okay. Gemty now. Gonna see Code. What? He just turned that shot. Gemty had the first shots and Code Marco just backhanded it. Mert now pushing up. These boys want it and they've got it. Here we go. Game back on. They have just proven they are out for blood. 7 kills in first place. It's not the biggest statement, but it's a win that gives them a chance. It gives them a window of opportunity. Now that window is small, but it's kept them one slightly apart from Tornado Energy, pushing them just back down, just away for a second or two, because that was getting a little scary then at the end, because Tornado Energy, for a little bit of time, jumped them. Went up to second for just a little bit. That's a very close race. You can't take too many risks. But that ending, Code Marco, again, proving so much value for this team.
It's not just now that we have to look towards DA. As you mentioned, within touching distance, you see Tornado Energy also within the runnings. I mean, you can't have asked really for a better finals when we see our number one team that's 36 ahead go down like they did. That brings them back maybe within 20, 22 points. Like this still, we've got 2 maps left. Depending how things go for Northern Lights, this isn't over until it's over. Any one of these top 4, Liquid maybe could just be out of the running, but still, it's definitely a 3-horse race.
It is. It's holding tight, and I think we need to really spend some time looking at Erangel here coming up. The next map has proven a bigger problem for DA, and I'm sure the desk will highlight as to why further. You know, they alluded to it at the start. So, guys, talk us through that game, and please, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on Erangel coming up next.
That's right. Looking forward to it indeed. But I heard some other teams wanted chicken dinners, but then all of a sudden they weren't allowed the chicken dinners because DA and Northern Lights once again take the chicken dinners for the start of the day. What? It's just ridiculous stuff. DA did not get quite the kills that I was hoping here for this to keep them up on pace. However, still a win is a win, and they're able to do it very, very well. I've got Martin and Froz here. Let's go through all the highlights. Martin, we got a DA victory.
Yeah, we did indeed, and that's gonna set them off nicely. Like, if we see a very good circle and a very good start for the next one for Digital Analytics, and Northern Lights have another rough one, it might be straight. You know, like, we might be looking at a tie before the last game. So they're keeping it super interesting. Northern Lights had a rough one. This is usually a pretty good compound, but they got breached multiple times, had a lot of pressure on them, and overall just a rough game for Northern Lights. I believe they had 3 kills in total from that, and no placement points. And 17 points to Digital Analytics, so that's a 14 points difference. And Digital Analytics also had a better game 1 than Northern Lights had a better, like the Northern Lights game 2. So in terms, we're kind of back to where we started once the day was started here. And now we got 2 maps left with Erangel. First phase with this push here to kill down, kill out, and take down Shift W was also very nice to see. Unfortunately, he got ended out by a win streak. Overall, this area in general, with Omakan being able to hold this high ground for so long, it just puts so much pressure on the teams that have to play down there in the open areas there, and it's rough to see. You could also see Gypsy ending up with 8 kills.
I will say Tornado Energy did a pretty decent job of trying to get towards the later circles. Obviously, they had a bit of a gauntlet to run up towards that northwest. But looking at how these final circles worked out for us and the chaos that ensued as well, even a team like Omakan that had great high ground control over some of these final circles could not convert that to an overall win, even though they did get a lot of kills, admittedly.
Yeah, I mean, it caused a lot of trouble with the circles itself because we saw 2 of the main circles, Circle 2 and Circle 3. They went super hard shift down to the south, and then, of course, Circle 4 we saw going towards the southwest. This caused a lot of trouble for a lot of the teams because they were setting themselves up already in Circle 1. They're going to be towards the center, all spread out. But once we see this kind of hardship, we see there's not too much ground to move on the sides itself, and all the teams kind of just meet each other on the new circle, on the north side of the new circle, and because of that, it becomes really hard. But Omakan, as Martin was mentioning, they had a high ground there. They were playing from the high ground towards the end, and you had DA playing towards the low ground. This causes a lot of trouble for the teams in between because whatever happens, you're going to get peaked by one of these 2 teams, and it's just going to be rough for you to try to take a fight.
Yeah.
We saw Liquid try to take advantage of that, going prone and just staying down because they know we don't need to do anything. All the other teams, they're going to do the job for us. They're going to kill each other, and then we'll just go in later on.
Can't decide who's happier, Digital Athletics or the cameraman that is filming them currently. As we got our 9th through 16th, we got quite a few points coming on here and there as teams had to move with these difficult circles. And Digital Athletics, 17 points to their name to try and make this catch-up happen. Will it, though, is the big question. Tornado and GC, there was 6 points. Not exactly the campaign that they wanted here on our final Miramar. So there's a slight evening up of that gap. However, still more work to be done here for Digital Athletics, given this. And I have a question to ask you, Martin, just in case, just in general, I suppose. I feel like Northern Lights, when it comes to Miramar, they have an easier time going south from their drop spot compared to going north. I feel like they have more success. Is this me just kind of making up notions, or is this something that holds water?
I think you're a master cartographer of Miramar. I think that's a very good point. No, I think it's just in general, whenever you have to pass that kind of ridge line that is east east and south of Power Grid, is just a rough time for them. They have somewhat, and also the amount of teams that you have around you, the amount of pressure that comes with the more teams you have in between your loot spot and then the center circle of phase 1, it just makes it harder and more occupied towards that area. So it's a good point, but it's also due to the population of other teams there.
I suppose the rotation paths as well, very, very difficult for them to try and get that going when everybody's moving up through that area. But yeah, that's how it does sit here for our Miramar games. Froz, any kind of final thoughts before we're moving on into Erangel here, considering that now Miramar is done? That is the last opportunity that all these teams are going to have to gain some points here on Miramar.
3 days in a row, we see DA get a win on the second game. And I mean, it just happened again. Hopefully they'll do better on Erangel, though, because one of their best performers has been on Miramar. They got 5 wins, all 5 on Miramar, 0 on Erangel. Erangel is not their map, and they have big problems as well. But I mean, on that with the melee circles we saw yesterday. But hopefully they can bring it back, because I want to see a race towards the top here with LT going out that early in this game and DA being able to win that game. It's the perfect scenario, the perfect setup for it.
Yeah, definitely. We're eventually going to get to see the points that have come in here from DA and see how that actually sits with them. And they are now not too far behind. There is still a world where this could come down to the wire. However, Northern Lights is still sat in a pretty good spot. And yesterday, Martin, we saw some of the issues that DA had to face when it came to dealing with Erangel. Of course, I mean, the military circles weren't very favorable towards them. They were literally the last team, I think, on 2 separate occasions to actually get there. I guess because their loot was hindered or they were very far away.
Sorry, again,
I guess their hope... Digital Athletics, we're talking about with Erangel.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, they're going to have to hope, I guess, A, that there's no military circles, and B, try and forge some path through other than that.
Them not being able to loot on contest is obviously a massive thing for them. It's rough that you have that, and then you have a rough circle against you where military is just in general super rough if you don't have an easy access to it. We also saw them play it 2 kind of different styles. One of them was try to send it over fast and get into good positions. There was just no good positions left to play, and then they tried to play it off the cliff, swim over, also didn't work. So all just rough games for them yesterday. I want to see them, play a style here where they're comfortable with it, because once they're comfortable with it, they will succeed with it either in terms of kills, or they will rotate into a better location and they will play better from there. But yes, military games is just super rough for them. It's something that is it's kind of their nemesis circle on Erangel. Yeah.
Another notion we were alluding to whilst we were kind of discussing the games for us, doing what we do, singing little silly songs whilst we're watching the games, is the fact that does DA have the championship mentality right now? Because it could be very easy, I suppose, in these final moments to I don't want to phrase it as choke, but not be able to follow through when you really need the results. Whereas a team like Northern Lights, we've seen them be able to do it before here when it comes to these final moments. What do you think?
I think the pressure on DA is higher than normal right now. And especially coming in, they know that they have Erangel left with 2 games left only. What are they going to do? Because we saw yesterday as well with Winstreak dropping on top of them in Razak. What's their backup plan today? Are they going to go back to South George today as well? Or do they have another plan in their pockets? It's just too much on the line as well. And all this adding up together, it's going to be really rough for DA, I feel like, coming into the last 2 games. But we just have to wait and see what's going to happen there.
Yeah, Martin, your thoughts regarding that kind of the championship quality about them? Can they make it happen at the very end?
I was worried for them yesterday. They had 25 points yesterday. Now today they have 23. Unfortunately for them, Northern Lights have 24. And Tornado Energy actually have 22. So they're just, adding a point to where we were before the day started. But then again, a Northern Lights 0-point game here for either Tornado Energy or Digital Athletics, that would put them into a position where they need to have a fantastic game to be on par or potentially tie them. So it's a lot of pressure, and they're probably very comfortable where they are right now. They have an immense amount of support, both on their land setting and also from fans. So I have no doubt that they potentially could do it, and they have the skill to do it. But it's a lot of pressure on it, and if you haven't experienced that before, it can be super draining mentally.
Yeah. And also, just to reiterate here, when it comes to the prize pool differences that do occur here throughout the tournament, 9th through 16th is all the same tier, do bear in mind. So for anybody to try and get themselves up towards that 8th position, it's already difficult considering the names that are already in that position, and they're gaining points here right now for us. So for 9th through 16th, a lot of this is kind of about pride right now, unless you're on the very edge, the 9th, 10th positions or something like that, which I think some of the teams are quite close to actually catching up to that next threshold here. It's difficult at this tournament.
I mean, TSM is sitting 6 points. Wait, is it? Yeah, 6 points away from 8th place, which Nav is currently holding. And then you have Omak, and they are like 12 points away. So it's still really close, and anyone's game down there as well. And as you're saying, it's a lot of money on the line there. So I'm wondering what's going to happen. But also towards the top as well, we have Liquid and Tornado, of course. Liquid still chasing Tornado. And what is going to happen there? Because I think there's a high chance that Liquid will do something about this. They're sitting comfortable in their spot right now. Below them, it's a very big gap. But up to Tornado is 11 points. And remember this, Tornado is dropping just southeast of Liquid on Erangel itself. They're dropping west of the farm, just southeast of Pachinki. And Liquid could potentially set up some sort of trap for them to get them out of the game early. If they do that in the first game here we see here, or in game 3 that is coming up, we're gonna see them maybe being able to rack up a few points and take that lead in, and maybe even surpass them on just one game itself.
Maybe. Although that being said, one of the teams that we haven't really fully dove into for this segment is that Tornado Energy is one of the most unpredictable teams, but with the most firepower if you allow them to pop off, right? So they're a team that could quite easily go out and get a 16-kill win and another 16-kill win and completely change the complexion of this top 3. So without further ado, we're going to the grassy pastures here for PUBG. It's our penultimate game of the championship for PCS3 EU.
No better way to kind of crown the victor is in the grassy fields. This is the quintessential map, and it's the quintessential moment for some of these teams to prove a point. And I'm looking at Northern Lights, and I want to see how they approach this, because the lead is there, but the gap has been slightly closed. But for DA, it's a mountain to climb, because this is not a good map for them as of late. They have been struggling. They have been finding it tricky to find a home that isn't contested constantly, that hasn't forced them out. But honestly, Rich, they look like they've got a good shot, at least a somewhat comfortable drop. They've got the bystanders nearby, but the island looks quite sparse for teams.
Clearly, they're very annoyed at what happened yesterday, and we're always being the last ones that moved over to Sosnovka this time round. They say, you know what, we'll stamp us ground on this and actually make it there ourselves. We'll keep an abundance watch for any early hot drops, any early scuffles that do come into effect. We'll see if anything does unfold. generally speaking, at the moment, nothing. We've seen Gatka being a weird and horrible place at times. But you know what? For the best part, everyone's going to be in a location where they've got a bit of room to breathe. Coming into this one, there's 2 points that we kind of we need to pay attention to. One being what James mentioned, that championship mentality. Who's got the nerves? Who's got the steel to be able to hold it together when the chips are down and things are going bad? When you're at the top of the table, and you can hold that form and hold that position. The other question, I suppose, kind of comes into effect with a circle like this is, where do you start to set up shop? I am always thrown back to what I believe was our first game of PGI last year, or PGC, excuse me, where this was over Sosnovka, and it was like, yeah, Sosnovka, and then all of a sudden Circle says, no, denied.
Yep.
Either way, no matter what, there is a lot of land that's going to be inaccessible, possibly, or at least unplayable, really. If the Circle, no matter which way you go, that bridge is basically going to be the dividing point. It's a very rough circle for an initial one, especially from an IGL standpoint of where you want to make your stand.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought up IGLs, because this is going to be, I think this is going to be quite tough for a couple of teams. One, Northern Lights. Let's look at why this might be tricky for them. Landing in Primorsk, they should have good loot by this point, because they were one of the first teams down, uncontested. Seeing a level 1 vest doesn't make me so happy for Spyro, but I'm sure he can grab something slightly better than that. But you'll have quite a few teams to go through. Na'Vi, maybe ETG, Liquid, TSM, whichever way you want to go, it's quite busy here. Now, you know, again, so that makes their decisions tricky and their rotation routes potentially a little bit precarious. So depending on which way they approach this, they have their own problems to deal with. But Batulans is a proven great IGL, and he can certainly lead from the front. So I worry less for them. However, DA have looked flustered. They did manage that previous game, so, you know, clearly proving, hey, good mentality to have. But Rich, you said it. Where's your pick in this? Do they risk going across the bridge early, moving into the likes of Shift W or Pink Ponies or anyone else who may be there? The bystanders could be there for all they know. Do they go across the other bridge? Okay, maybe Na'Vi are there. Hell, even Northern Lights, if they really wanted to be dirty, could do it, but they wouldn't know that DA dropped here. Again, these choices do become very, very difficult. So I'm interested to see what they actually opt for. What is their choice here? What do they go for? Tornado and Energy have a wonderful opportunity now to jump DA. This is an extremely strong circle for them, for example. So I am curious, Rich. I think we're going to see the in-game leadership being put through its paces very early with where they decide to go.
So for DA, the 2 options would be initially go to the western bridge and try and take a chance and go for a long play, do a big wide sweep of the map to try and avoid any teams that are going to be setting up shop. On the opposing side of the bridge, yes, it would be an easier shot to the central point of the circle, but that is the whole point. It is the center. Everyone else is going to be inadvertently bridge camping because it's in Milta. Your Milta town, farm to the left. You've got the little shacks, the little garages more towards the northern side of Milta. There's going to be so many teams now that just home in on that central point. Like, if you're belting it across the bridge, and don't forget you've got the bystanders there as well, then you're going to have all kinds of problems. Tia going for this compound. Brexaco's already made it across. Mex is just run over Jimbo. Let's make note of that, but keeping in the back of your mind, no one's in Pachinki. Brexco is on his own for now, but that's a banging shot through the window. What? Pink Poke? What?
Molly coming in. Now, hold on. I want to keep eyes on this, because if he can prove a problem, Tia, you're in trouble. Bear in mind he has support from Zocker on the way. Kilyukai is coming, but Brexco needs to live. And that's easier said than done when you have Tornado Energy swarming. Nate Smoke goes down. He's caught Melman. Lovely angle. Very aware. But is there a trade? Is there someone else nearby? I saw Zocker. I saw Kilyukai getting a little curious. But Omakun and TSM having their battle throw down, not far away from this, really, but I guess when it comes to terms like this, it could be a mile apart for all it matters. These teams, you know, every piece of ground can be so contested. You can see Paige now working a deeper angle. I like this, trying to maybe alleviate that pressure from someone trying to get a deeper angle, and he's found it on Iroh. Beautiful play from Paige. That's individual brilliance coming out. Just that AK working so well for him. And Fex is now frustrated, I'm sure. He's feeling isolated, surrounded. T-Bone's coming. Gemty's coming. TSM are on the ropes here, Rich.
That's the thing for some time. T-Bone's just been slowly but surely working his way to this point, while Page has just been holding them dead to rights. Chris actually coming onto Example. That's phenomenal. Vasco comes in, runs over Ira, but Chris has gone down. Alia instantly answers back. 2 different fights, 2 different sections of the map. Zocker's here as well. This is a devastating blow for Tornado Energy. We'll keep an eye just on that top to see if TSM do go down. You'd assume, with the disadvantage that they are at, that a 16th position is lurking, unfortunately. Alia falls back to a bit of a deeper angle to get that elevated line of sight from the rocks, but his teammates are dying in front of him. He needs to help them out. At this point, Zocker with 20 HP strikes onto Melman. This is dire straits right now for Tornado.
Oh, this is terrifying. Killikai, what are your options here? Do you stand and fight or do you back away? The thing for Tornado Energy, yes, they'll get some points from this, but they are weakened. They are looking worse for wear. Na'Vi now swinging by. DA did make it through. They're on the hillside south of Pachinki overlooking. Killikai is moving up slightly. He's getting involved. Alia's going to see this, but Quizzy then flushes Zocker. They want no threats, but Orange isn't that far from this. He might get some vision. So you're going to have to see if Alia can still maintain that outward position. Even Liquid getting a little curious. A lot of eyes will be on this compound, so you've got to be aware of this. Now, Tornado Energy have recovered their players. Yes, they are knocked. Yes, their gear may be far from ideal, but they will still stand. 4 still alive and Killikai lurking. It's not what Tornado Energy wanted, but it's what they're going to get. Now, ETG and Na'Vi about to clash as well.
Besto will be able to get himself in the fray here with 2 players above. He needs to be extremely careful. The second that he lays into Forever from behind, Death from above will try and pounce upon him. They've actually opted to go for a deeper angle onto a different point of contact altogether. Wait, they get... Oh, that's some bad driving, unfortunately. And Senya says, thank you very much. I'll take them 3 points all day long. Besto comes around the corner. The big bad man himself puts them dead in the ground. Where's the last player? They have to find him. It's Youth. He can fall back to the garage compound, but honestly, they've done so much damage here to ETG. They're not even going to be a problem. They don't problem. Oh, no, you sneaky. There's no way you survive this. How the hell have you managed to do this?
What? What? Melman. There we go. Okay. So Tornado Energy will get points for this. Now, okay, keep in mind, DA have moved to the rocks just southwest of this. Northern Lights are on the outskirts. I'm very interested in Northern Lights' positioning. Now, this does allow them to shift to the island if it happens. And maybe they're considering the chance of it. They've given themselves a gateway through if they feel that's the case. So maybe predicting this could still go to the south. Let's see if that's the case. No, it's not. Now, what do Northern Lights do with this information? The Sauna Boys are ahead of them, but under the assumption that they'd like positioning on the circle. Miraku's yeeted himself somewhere. Miraku down for TSM, and as is the rest of the squad. So Sauna Boys will start moving off now. DA already moving up as well, and Northern Lights doing the similar thing. Now, Tornado Energy can stay where they are. You will imagine late game they might have some troubles, purely because they're very near the water here. But that's a worry for later. ETG's remainder looking a little bit lonely. DA could send towards this. Now put them very centralized, but it also puts them in the eyes of Na'Vi, Liquid, and ETG. If not Omicron, if they also move to that area.
Base Clan move a little bit more forward than the previous one, but you can hear by the side of the car, Uber's already under fire. Damage is done from the bystanders. They do work their way off the bridge onto the opposing side. Hit the shark fin, and that might just stay their feet. If they've annoyed Face Clan enough, Face could quite easily camp them out, but the problem is that both teams, they're just held back from the middle side of the circle. Senya setting up on the edge here. Youth just praying that nobody comes flying his way. If it's parked a vehicle outside the little tower, then clearly they'll make note of his location. Red line and pink ponies. Both teams kind of going head to toe looking towards the main farm compound, but the main road up top will certainly give them that line of sight that they needed. Miraku, did he hit a tree? He just had enough. He just had enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been a rough day.
Yeah. Now, I want to look at Northern Lights here, Rich. What do you think of this passive approach they're playing right now?
I think it's quite good, and maybe they're... And I always say this because they play well. Do you remember when we used to speak about Na'Vi, how they'd always be up against the edge of the circle, and they'd always do well off the back of it? With something like this, when they're opposing side, that's a large amount of land that they can play off the back of. if Batulins scouts up onto Pachinki Hill or Potato, whatever you want to call it, again, you've got the new terrain, you've got the little dugouts, the gun turrets up there that you can utilize, that surrounding area. You've got hard cover, more importantly. The bigger benefactor of all this is the fact that there's still water down in the south. So in theory, if you're a betting man, you're going to be guessing, okay, well, maybe this starts to work its way up north slowly but surely. Obviously, there is discretion there that we have to take with, you know, the likes of TE, the likes of Team Liquid being so central. For Liquid to be able to take over the left-hand side of farm, that snaking road, to have bodies in so many compounds, like the amount of times we'll see teams sharing that facility because it just, someone hits it from the north, someone hits it from the south. But to be able to throw bodies nice and clean, that ain't clean from Noki, he's dead, bye-bye. 5 points already in the bag for T. I know they've had a rough start, Lauren, but that's still a good start when it comes to points.
And they found a good position too. They've kind of slipped in. Now, I don't know how sustainable it is. I think it might be a very small building to be in. At least Melman has moved up, as you can see. Examples still further back. So I'm interested to see how this bodes them down the line. Obviously, DA not far off, Sauna Boys, Na'Vi, Liquid all surrounding. So, again, big early impression. Very big early impression from them, obviously picking up a very clean victory over Shift W, which is quite surprising. I thought Shift W might have done more damage. They got the knocks, but unable to finish the job they started. Circle moves, closes in as expected.
Right.
Keeping a little bit of the water in, and Liquid very centralized here.
So you have this huge roadside on the top side of the circle, which is basically a plateau. You'd have to say now that the northern side of it's dead area. All the greenland where WS is, eventually it's going to pull from there and move more towards that roadside. It either goes towards the road and up towards Omakan's position, or we end up going down low, somewhere between Farm, FaZe Clan, Redline, Team Liquid. At the moment, Northern Lights have a hell of a lot of work to do. The Potato Hill could become a very prime scouting position, but everywhere else for the north from them is pretty much dead air. Like, you're going to get Ents who will work their way onto the small plateau on the edge of where Omakan are sitting if they want to work their way up there off the back of the shelters. But again, you do have that position where Jempty should be able to just spring into action, stay alive, and capitalize on the free kills that come his way. And again, it makes it all that much more harder for Ents to make an entry point in this and really make a stance when you've already got teams like WS firing bullets into them. It's damage done to Ents. It's information of their location, more importantly, which will then be passed between Omakan, and holding a 2-2 split gives them good leverage over that north side of what will eventually be the circle. Northern Lights still, we have to look towards them because there is also this small potential, Lauren, that given DA's position, if DA has just hidden and it isn't showing any signs of life at all, if they've just took themselves into this compound, hidden all the vehicles, closed all the doors, and are literally sitting in corners, which they've done before, they may just inadvertently bait. No, he just clipped the window, surely. Yes, they have. So they've seen Smash now. So that game's completely given up. If they'd have stayed inside, Northern Lights may have pushed that. DA may have actually just basically scared them and get some free points on it. Now Northern Lights knows it can't take that position unless they get 1-2 knocks, vehicles, full send, remove them from it. But this takes a lot of coordination and, more importantly, the initial knocks to come in.
Okay. Northern Lights Hill on the edge. Safe because no one else is really playing it for now. The roll of the hill should keep them at least secluded slightly. Trickier to shoot up towards that hill than down, so for now we wait on the circle to define who's really garnered the better position. Some of these are incredibly hard to move away from and disengage from, so could be tricky for them. Now, beyond that, Redline, Pink Ponies, hanging around. Northern Lights very cautious on how they want to approach this. It looks like a slight 2-2. Perfectix and Batulins a little bit closer by to each other, and Lou and Spyro on the other side. Waiting to see what they do with this.
I think if they have another... Oh my god, you lucky boys. Like, with the position that they're in, with the options that are so limited, they get the hardship of all the times in the world to garner it. That is just beyond good for them now. Don't get me wrong, they're still going to have work to do on the next circle. you would not anticipate a double hard shift to their exact position back to back. But still, for now, they're safe. They can stand. They can chill. They don't have to show their hand. Maybe that's the preemptive style of what Northern Lights should be really doing, is just stay quiet, keep lurking, don't shoot into anybody, don't give anyone information of where you are, and then maybe you just jump into action at the right time on the rotation and use the shock tactics. Hit DA, pull a DA and just hit them like they would do any other team. Shock tactics come into a play if DA is just going into, you know, retention mode and sitting back and doing nothing because they're hoping for points, then they could catch him with the pants down.
Sure, Marv now popping off shots towards the Pink Ponies. A little bit of a gap between Redline and Omicron, the teams who are just kind of in that 11th and 10th position. That would be a nice little jump for them if they were able to manage it. But Omicron are a team that seems to always be able to find kills when required, but a little tricky terrain there, but they'll make it through, and it does put them in towards the kind of realms of yellow for the bystanders instead. Could be working his way around, rather to get to the teammates than try and stop anyone else. Seems that he's been able to get ahead, which is the main thing here.
Everyone's opting to take the beachhead and just try and stay out of the way of danger, but Pink Ponies actually decide to roll a little bit further and a little bit deeper. They will get boxed in by stance that the bystanders will be setting up. Bascu has fallen. WS, that's actually a very, very important frag, actually. I spoke about this plateau being theirs to control, but now they have to go into recovery mode. Now all of a sudden they have to just get together. T-Bone will stand strong. That is huge. 1-2, thank you. Doesn't get the third, but the damage is done onto the back of ends. Now all of a sudden win streak, they can come alive. They can capitalize on this situation. 2 players have fallen on the side of Ends. 2 players have fallen on the side of Omicron. What can you do with this? You were damaged early on. Now you've been given a very small window of opportunity, but you have to be quick. Redline understand what's going on here. All these other teams do not realize they are turning up slowly, but surely they'll be working their way up. The vehicles are there. If they abandon them now, their approach will be quiet. Tixu, that's not good. Tries to go for the low ball, but doesn't matter because the nades are coming through thick and fast. This will be him, done and dusted. Not entirely sure where the last player will be. Squeaky trying to run for his life, and honestly, I don't think he can really go anywhere with that much HP. But again, it comes down to how devastating this will be. There are so many players in abundance up on that long roadside, and it's just become an absolute bloodbath. It's a massacre. Squeaky's just trying to do all he can. This vehicle will be all kind of tanked up, leading up towards Tornado Energy. Don't feed them. They've already had enough. It's Clib who actually snipes him out the back of the car.
Hold on. Code Marco just found Lou, so they know where Northern Lights currently reside. Not a flush, just a knock. Lou was kind of exploring slightly further east from that edge position, kind of moving in towards a circle. And it's moving, oh my word, it's moved away from DA, Northern Lights, Sauna Boys, Pink Ponies. All of them now have to find a way forward. And this is going to be a mad one. Keep eyes on that western side. The east isn't resolved yet. This is still Clib popping off shots. Jeems doing damage, FaZe on the receiving end. As they tried to maneuver up the hill to greet the likes of WS, it opened up the shots towards Team Liquid. They had the line of sight on it. Fuzzface fancy sending some shots right back down at him, but tricky angles here. These are very skilled individual players. Let's have a little look. Does catch James in the heels just once, twice. Sadly, not 3 times a lover, but oh, there we go, up to it. So now, does manage to tag him up a bit, but this is just kind of a... As much as I love seeing this, my eyes are on the map right now, if I'm honest with you, Rich. Once I see Northern Lights and DA start to make their moves, that becomes far more interesting. Sakura's already found one. Ibis doing well towards the Wanderer, but now living in the blue. Just going to accept fate. Down he goes. Northern Lights are on the move. DA's seen this, but obviously Northern Lights can kind of keep DA where they are. This becomes very difficult for DA to leave this compound. Out in the west, Northern Lights have now leapfrogged ahead of them. Going in towards where Na'Vi were retaining. Remember where Na'Vi were, kind of more centralized on that previous circle. Perfectix, Patulins, Spyro, Lou, they are locking in DA, Rich.
Getting in front of him, that's for sure. We will have to take a quick peek at it. You can see Tornado Energy have actually got problems themselves on the lower side of the screen. They're dealing with it hap-handedly, though. Sauna Boys go down. At the moment, he had just been fed points left, right, and center. Huth onto the side of Omicron, I do believe. Tap, tap, tap. Jimty gets inside the shack for now. But the Northern Lights, they are back building. DA are in the vehicles. We have to look at DA's POV. Where are they going? What's left?
If they
Where
go
can
south,
they
it's
go
Tornado
without having
Energy.
a potential fight whatsoever? If they head into TE, then maybe
Oh
they
my
get
God,
lucky because
they
TE
might
is
crash
damaged.
Tornado Energy. How far do they make this? We've got to look at DA. I don't care about etiquette. Okay, Na'Vi fighting Tornado Energy. Doesn't matter. Perfectix just got knocked. He's still alive, though. Can be picked up, but they took their time to try and deal with this. DA have now moved in towards TE, but only part of them. It's Alia who's in this hut, not the rest of the team. And now if they can clear this correctly, get that utility in there. Does he get found at the back of it? He's just behind the backside. He's still being cautious. Spyro's just got knocked by the blue. There we go. Tornado Energy is down. They have been eliminated. DA took them out and they've taken a good central spot. Northern Lights are struggling. Na'Vi are finding them. Spyro's down. Batulins is down. Besto is laying down fire. This is an opportunity, and Lou, I think, knows it's time to give it up to the blue. If he can survive a little longer, fine, no problem. But it's Orange to take him out. And now there's a chance, Rich. DA have suddenly opened up a tiny chance, but they have to frag out, and they are not in the perfect position. This is still an open hillside.
The shack is so fragile, but honestly, it's much more than what Na'Vi or WS have. Na'Vi has to come down from that hillside. The question is DA in a position where they are occluded from Team Liquid shots? If they are, then maybe, just maybe, they can take Na'Vi out on arrival. They did it. Game 1, Miramar, they managed to smash into him in the shack. The question is it time for Na'Vi to repay the favor? You can see the rotators come round, so DA's now actually got itself within a better position. This is fantastic from them. They are further in the circle if you really want to be pedantic, or at least the same amount potentially up as against where Ibby is. But the problem is for Team Liquid, I spoke about that huge snake instead of buildings they have. Bystanders are in there with them. They focused towards FaZe. They consolidated their team more towards the northern side of it. I'm totally fine with that, but by doing so, the southern side became open. It became weakened, and the bystanders worked their way in there. Aim low, last man standing. You'd assume within the next few minutes he goes down if someone just sees it. Job done. He'll just lay down. Really no problems, to be honest with you, how much of an open field it is. WS. Now this could be problematic. All the smokes are going down because this is the dungeon run.
Yeah, they're giving it a good crack, aren't they? They've lost down Wanderer, made it to a tree. Pre-smoke goes down, but they're losing players. Bleeding by the wayside. Already Jean's just peppering bullets in. He's got the angle on it. Mexi might be able to get up one more smoke and be safe, at least from Liquid, but look who's lurking in the background. Na'Vi might opt to go this way. It seems safer. It's a good area to be in, and if Senya sees this, he's going to lay bullets purely downrange, and he might just get the vision soon. Just going to be jumping for that peak, looking for that pixel that's slightly out of place, but Code Marco going to keep him humble. Go, hey, don't come over this way. Look somewhere else. So now already Beamy's found angle. That's going to be the pink pony's gone. Maxi, he's going to cut his losses, at least in that position, and try and move on. Ibby, desperate for a shot to find his place. Doesn't quite get what he wanted, but nice work from Liquid. Good kills. Same to be said for Na'Vi, having a good game, good kill game. 8 for them. Then 8 from Orange, going to be doing the work from the grave, as it was a trade out in the end. DA, careful now. Merch just been knocked and flushed. We're down to just 3 for them. They have to have high kill games. It's not enough just to snake your way into the end.
Liquid has been just very dominant in the area that it controls, apart from that southern side. But thankfully for them, the bystanders have actually gone a hunting. They've been looking and lurking towards that now to see who's actually there. To have 4 teams almost, I know we've just seen 1 player go down from DA, but so many players alive, this could be a very, very fun set of events that are about to unfold. The idea of 2 different fights on 2 different sides to lead us up to it is very tantalizing. The circle updates. DA and Na'Vi can stand their ground. Maybe Na'Vi just edges forward, just brings the vehicles, builds themselves some kind of a fortification. Oh, that's a little bit unlucky as Tam just jumps onto the top of the car. That's not the emergency plan that you wanted. They will probably try and bring these vehicles together, build themselves a wall. If not, maybe they're just trying to build something to wrap around on Digital Athletics. If they go for this, if they just full send it, with 1 up top, it's looking likely the nades are dead. Oh, what's happening? They're going for it. They want to challenge it.
Marco is down below them, though. I don't know if they have the most current information that some of DA's already left that previous little shack. Vitralis is still back there, sure, but Code Marco's a little further ahead. But I love this kind of, you know, the big dog play from Na'Vi, but Smash living up to the name. Senya's head rolls on the floor, and now Tab's feeling a little worse for wear. Quick flush, they want the points, they get the points. It's Code Marco leading the way for them, and he needs more though on the back of this. Na'Vi are holding the back lines, but Tab is pushed up on his own. Sees the smoke go down, Code Marco careful. You cannot afford to lose players here, but I'm seeing bystanders move in as well. DA are about to get pinched.
Yeah, they've hit the building behind them, which they were controlling earlier on, but by leaving the safety net of this, they all just have to now roll into the shack, but by doing so, they will be open to so many grenades coming out of Na'Vi. Remember, that door is open. One beautiful nade from the Tab could solidify this and get the job done. The nades come in from the backside on the bystanders. Don't forget about Team Liquid. They are wrapping upside the hill. Maybe they hit Na'Vi first. Maybe they inadvertently do DA a very small favor, remove a little bit of pressure and remove some Na'Vi players from the map. But it's actually Orange. He answers back. Jimbo, first one to fall, put them out of position for all but a moment. Mexi does strike back. Nades go down. Up in the air we go, and Orange surely should be removed from play, but he still has to be aware of Besto. DA is not sitting still, and I'm kind of okay with that. Marco is playing for time, playing for life. The nade from Flammy could be phenomenal. Smash has just seen what's going on as he will fall victim. Metralius, it's time to step up. It's time to be on the defensive.
They've got to be so cautious. Luckily for them, Na'Vi are preoccupied, so one part of this fight is gone, but Flammy's nades, these mollies, oh, it just goes too far. It goes through the other side. Beamy on the wide flank, though. Code Marco's got that angle, but he gets tagged up. Beamy outdoes him. It's just Metralius now. Desperate to stay alive, desperate for points. He has to try and outlive the other teams here, and it's just not up to him at this point. If the bystanders push and this could be all over for DA. This could be that last stand. It gives them a slight chance, but it's so minute. And the new man to the squad having to keep things together. It falls to pieces, as now they get denied that top 3 spot, those bigger points. That first place they're so desperate for is ripped away from them. Liquid just flooding the map now. Yes, Mexi is down. He's a bit knocked. He's a little bit worse for wear, but it could be worse. Could be in Na'Vi's position.
Clip on the revive. With the bolt action in the back pocket. Eyes on the prize when it comes to Besto. They remove him. They can look at the next target, which will be the bystanders. The bystanders also just committing utility towards Na'Vi. Makes it a little bit easier. Right underfoot. That is an absolute banger of a nade. Here we go then, 4 versus 4, bystanders Team Liquid. Final circle, this is the penultimate game before we move into our grand final match. Liquid, they're quite a few points down the table, but with a few frags more and a win, it could send them right up there towards the echelons of DA, towards the echelons of TE. It's been a 4-team game pretty much for this last few weekends. Performances have been in abundance from some of these European rosters. 7 kills, you could tank this up to 11 and make a 21-point game. That would be the bolster. That would be the jump that Team Liquid needs right now.
And we look at this in the way I see this. We have experience, droves of it, years of it, up against the upstarts, the young up-and-comers that have been turning attention. It may not be every single day of the week, but when they get into it, bystanders have been the real deal. But to take on Liquid in a final circle, it's a little bit trickier than you'd imagine, but let's see what the plan is. A 4v4 too. It's mirrored almost. Look at the way they're approaching this. You've got 2 more centralized towards the middle. Yellow Hjort for bystanders, Klib and Ibby for Liquid. Jeems against Flammy, Mexi against Beamy. These are 1v1s that are going to be tricky. The terrain, I would say right now, slightly favors the bystanders, but with the smokes going up, that gets even. And it's just, who's going to make the first mistake? It looks like Mexi's already been isolated, though. That's a bit of an issue. He's got to be very cautious here, because Beamy could move into that if they want to. But now the pendulum swings slightly for the bystanders. They have to be very, very careful with how they approach this. One overstep, they're going to probably get naded to all pieces, and Flammy's receiving it. There's the first couple of nades. Boom, 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 all going off. But he's still somehow alive. Barely. But he is alive. And Beamy has snuck across the roadside.
We're actually bombarding this area with mollies beneath the smoke just to try and flush Mexi out. They had some idea of where he was, just isolated from the rest of the rosters. Jimbo strikes. First target is down. Now he's behind enemy lines. If he's occluded by the smoke, he can continue this assault, but the answer back is there. Beamy strikes and answers back, and now he's in open ground. A second one will fall. Beamy, can you do this? You have all the players in your POV, but Jimbo once again does strike back. Klib and Jeems, a 2 versus 2. This is just insanity on all kinds of levels.
It's Cliff and Jeems to lock this one out. You're looking at them now. For Liquid, they're going to try and get a cheeky revive. That's mad at this point. They're going to be back up to 3 in a couple of seconds. There we go. Now they've got an extra man to work with. Hjort and Yellow need to get a freebie. They need a free kill if they fancy a shot in it. And that could have been the charm. A headshot just evading Hjort. He was desperate to get it towards Cliff. The mollies, the last bit of utility they have. The blues pushing them together. There's only so much time. Excellent flash. Yellow's blind. He's in the blue. They have nothing more to do. They have to push this. And Liquid have the hillside. The second they silhouette, it's going to be absolutely brutal. Liquid maintain composure. And they manage the win. 11 kills, the first place. Liquid proving they are very much still one of the top dogs.
Coming into this penultimate game, 166 points, 4th position. A 21-point game is going to do wonderful things for them on that leaderboard. Like, this is very much locked in at the top. When you see the drop-off that then moves into ends below it, it gets a little bit harder. But as we go into this, yes, we have all these options, Lauren. We have all these possibilities of who's going to be winning it. But the other question is, who now throws it into the wind? Who now just says, you know what, this is a public game. We're playing for cash. This is our last chance to dance. Let's just get stuck in. Let's just go ham and maybe hot drop on somebody. Will we see any madness? Who knows? But I know what we are in for, and it's going to be a damn good final game.
Yeah, let's send it over to the boys on the desk to give us that breakdown and the lead up to that final game. I want to know all those options. What do the teams need to do to get that first place or just to jump that next team, catch up? Take us through it, guys. I can't wait to hear it.
That's right, let's do it. We got ourselves a Team Liquid win. It might come a little too late to try and challenge for the championship, but still, they're looking to take over a Tornado Energy especially and get themselves a bit more money under the belt. Let's take a look at the highlights as well here from our penultimate game, as this was the situation. I've got mine and Froz joining me here to break things down as well. Froz, take me through the game.
This was a little bit of a weird one. We saw a very soft play in the start, and we actually saw that DA, they went for the south. They went for Millie Island. They were thinking, okay, are we going to see a repeat from yesterday? Are we going to go for this? If so, we're going to be prepared this time. It was very weird to see, honestly. And early on, it was pretty crowded in the center. We saw Liquid actually taking the whole of Snake compound by themselves and just holding that down all the way to the end there. And yeah, I don't know. FaZe Clan, they went for a wizard play. They tried to stack everybody up in a wizard tower. It wasn't really a play, but we saw them move out afterwards, and this is what happened then. Basically, Liquid just had the best angles ever on them and just backstabbed them. Yeah. And yeah, it was super weird. But we had some teams that were like sticking out a little bit. TE got himself 8 kills. Navidim got himself 9 kills. Doing a lot of work. We know that TE was currently on the 3rd place. And they were trying to make sure that Liquid wouldn't catch up. But Liquid getting the win with 11 kills, I think they might have caught up now.
Oh. And if DA was to have any chance of being able to put up bigger numbers in this game, it was stifled by bystanders pulling up on them, Martin, here, and really giving them a run for the money.
Yeah, and it's actually, I was looking for bystanders to do something like this the previous 22 games. Like, it's the first time that we see this kind of, ambitious plays from them that we like to see from them from the last PCS, for example. And now they're really stepping up. We see a lot of kills from them. Beamy had an absolute a few amazing frags with 2 nice sprays on Evie and Mexi here. They almost had it at that point, but Teams got Beamy down, and Yellow and Hjort, they had very little space to play with. Team Liquid have taken down an immense amount of playable space here. So 11 kills, 21 points for them is going to really put them up on the board. That's going to be really good to see.
Yeah, let's take a look at the points breakdown from this game. 9th through 16th, not too much here. We can move on to our 1 through 8 and really get into the meat of things, because Team Liquid gets 21 points. The problem for them, I suppose, all things considered, is Tornado Energy got themselves 9 points, so they're going to be pretty even pegging with Team Liquid for that 3rd and 4th spots right now. DA, 7 points, as all eyes really are focused right now on these names up towards the top, Froz. And, you know, with that, maybe going into this next game, Team Liquid has a chance to really bag more money off the back of this.
Yeah, 100%. It's a $10,000 difference between 4th and 3rd place. But also, of course, we saw that NLT, they went out on 7th place in this game. They only got themselves 0 kills, so that means they got 1 point. On top of that, DA, They had the chance to push it up there. They had a chance again to do something, but bystanders, they come in the way, or rather come from behind and stops them from doing that. And with one game to go, it's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight. It's going to be rough there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that all breaks down. Once we get the overall standings properly affirmed here on the broadcast. And it's weird to say, Martin, but obviously we're seeing Navi here popping on up, but it's been a bit of a quiet tournament for them. Yes, they've had some of their pop-off moments. Yes, they've had like a second place here and there, even a first place, but it's not been the tournament we wanted from Navi, unfortunately.
No, but today they actually had a decent day with some two top 8 placements with some kills for it, and a third place here with 9 kills. And this is the kind of performance we want to see from them, right? Like, we want to see them end up nicely. And with this, they're actually gonna enter the top 5 with this, which is I feel like is a respectable tournament result for them, considering how rough games they've had.
All right, well, let's do a map breakdown as we have Avenger actually once again talking us through what's going on here on our first Erangel.
Yeah, and with this, I actually want to point out how nice it is to see that. We'll try again. Oh, you don't see that?
I don't see anything. But what is it you're wanting to point out in general?
I wanted to point out. I wanted to point out that Digital Analytics, they actually adapted, which was super nice to see, and I was happy to see that they were doing that, because that was actually honestly something that we were hoping for them to do, because they were pushed out, they were in a rough spot, and they honestly were yesterday pushed against the wall, and they were able to adapt, go into a new spot, different spot, maybe even hoping for a. Hoping for a melee game. They were looting there to begin with, and then they actually had some really nice rotations. I think I might be able to get it out, and we can maybe check that again in a second.
Oh.
And yeah, oh yeah.
Oh. Hey.
No, and here we go. Yeah. And with this, obviously, Digital Analytics, they started off here. They were able to start looting here, and then they actually moved into multiple different locations. Like, they were not gifted this game at all. They had multiple rotations where they were forced onto, and they were pushing into nice spots here. I'll speed it up a little bit. And they took so many pads, so good rotation, and so good scouting from here. Like, starting to go up on top, and I would say it's kind of rare to see this, because we have a Western Circle. They came over there quite early, but they're going here to scout. They spotted the next position was open for them, and they go out to another location where you can scout from in a really, really nice 2-2 split. While and with this, in this first circle, they've already scouted from 2 locations, who've gone into a 2-2 split, and they continue to do really well from there. And then they go on to the west side. They've scouted that this compound potentially could be free or in a split. That is the third rotation to do, and they just continue to do so all the way through. Very unfortunate for them that Bison had a really good spot, and that they sent it onto the small concrete house that they were actually able to take from them, because that put them in a checkmate situation where Digital Analytics, they couldn't do too much. This west circle here was nice for them, but obviously they pushed out, and they continued to push on super fast, managing to take the center location here. Once we get into the next spot here, I was hoping to see a Northern Lights full-on fight, but it was actually Digital Analytics that ended up taking a good rotation onto the shack and taking over this location from them. So this was a super good move for them, and I think we're all hoping and cheering them on for this underdog story to really come through and Digital Analytics to jump this. But Bystanders, they were able to push in very nicely from the behind and took it down from them, getting them second place, which is one of the best performances in a single game so far for Bystanders.
Yeah, it would be nice to see if they can kind of convert this into a push up towards the top. However, of course, we see Northern Lights still dominating that position. But for now, we're going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen. And when we return, we have one final game to determine our champion. We'll see you right after this.
Will finally be dropped. The PUBG Global Invitational 2018 Grand Champions. Team PGC champion!
안녕하세요. 크래프톤 PUBG 대표 김창환입니다.
안녕하세요. PUBG e스포츠 정현섭 PD입니다.
저희는 3년 동안 배틀그라운드 글로벌 e스포츠 대회가 선수와 팬, 그리고 저희에게 얼마나 큰 의미를 갖는지 알고 있었기 때문에 글로벌 규모의 e스포츠 대회 개최를 통해서 최상의 재미를 선사하고자 수많은 노력을 기울여 왔습니다. 어려운 상황 속에서 2020년 3번의 PUBG Continental 시리즈 PCS를 진행하면서 2018 PGI, 2019 PGC 이상의 경험을 제공할 수 있도록 새로운 글로벌 e스포츠 축제를 준비했습니다. 드디어 배틀그라운드 e스포츠를 사랑해주시는 팬, 그리고 항상 승리에 목마른 선수를 위해 한 가지 가슴 벅찰 소식을 전달드릴 수 있게 됐습니다. 2021년 2월 PUBG 글로벌 인비테이셔널 S, PGIS가 대한민국에서 개최됩니다. 무려 8주 연속 진행되는 최초의 글로벌 e스포츠 축제로 350만 달러가 넘는 상금을 쟁취하기 위한 치열한 배틀이 시작되는 것이죠. 그 중심에는 유럽과 미주, 그리고 아시아 지역의 총 32개 프로팀이 함께하게 될 것입니다.
이번 PGIS는 2018년 배틀그라운드 e스포츠를 전 세계 팬들에게 처음 선보였던 PGI를 계승하고 이를 더 발전시켜 배틀로얄의 핵심인 서바이벌과 최대의 상금, 최장기간을 뜻하는 시리즈의 S를 담았습니다. 거대한 상금을 쟁취하기 위한 프로 선수들의 치열한 쇼다운, 화려한 쇼, 그리고 최고의 슈프림 팀은 누가 될 것인지 배틀로얄의 진정한 의미를 PGIS를 통해 전달드리겠습니다. 팬과 선수에게 최고의 e스포츠 축제가 되기를 희망하는 만큼 안전한 대회 환경을 만드는 것이 가장 중요하다고 생각합니다. 최고 수준의 방역 기준을 충족하여 선수와 스태프, 개개인의 안전과 건강을 최우선으로 생각하는 대회가 될 것을 약속드립니다. 글로벌 최고의 쇼, PGIS가 다가오고 있습니다. 선수들에겐 명예와 영광을, 글로벌 e스포츠 팬들에겐 최상의 재미와 새로운 경험을 선사할 PGIS.
전 세계 최정상급 프로 선수들의 실력과 더 나아가 배틀그라운드 e스포츠의 무한한 가능성을 확인하시길 바랍니다.
Welcome back. We only have one more game remaining here for PCS3 EU Grand Finals. And of course, right now, Northern Lights sits in a very firm spot. But will they be challenged by Digital Athletics? We're about to find out. Before we get into that game, though, we have a special guest, as always, here for our final game. It's Toby, the #1 fan of Bystanders, after they actually trounced the lobby here and potentially dashed the hopes of DA. How are you doing, Toby?
I'm doing good. #1 Bystanders fan. It's sort of a good time. Good time to be me. No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. It was a good game for Bystanders, but let's not dwell too much on that, as they don't really have any competing chance in the final game. No, I'm doing good. Excited for the final game to come.
How have you been enjoying the tournament so far, my friend? Considering what's going on up at the top, Northern Lights, DA, etc., and all that stuff. What are you thinking?
It's been amazing. I am thrilled to see teams. I mean, Martin kind of talked about how DA was starting to adapt a little. I'm thrilled to see teams be forced to do things differently and realize they can actually succeed when doing things differently. Usually we see teams try to do something different, they fail, they go back to their same old, they fail again. But DA now not fully committing center every time, but going, oh, we can actually function on the edge too, and works for them. I think that's good to see.
Yeah, full-on grind mode. Really impressive stuff by them so far. And there is a chance they can catch up. Right now, they sit 16 points behind Northern Lights here. I just had to do a little math quickly. At the same time, though, Tornado Energy has been pipped at the post currently for 3rd place by 1 point by Team Liquid. These are guaranteed our top 4. It depends on how things are going to shape up between first and second and third and fourth. There is a world where Team Liquid could get themselves a second place spot here as well, Froz. So still a lot to play for some of these teams.
Still a lot to play for, but if you look at it, Digital Athletics, they want to be number 1, right? They want that. That's what everyone wants. They have one more chance to do this right now. So far, we've seen that Northern Lights have been struggling a little bit in the past games here, but are Digital Athletics going to take this matter into their own hands and do something about it? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to drop on top of NLT. You know that NLT dropped on the 4 corners of the map, so basically NLT is going to be adapting depending on where the plane is going to go. But Digital Athletics, though, that's what I'm most curious about, how they're going to be playing this game out, the last game, where they're going to start from. That is like one of the main things. Are they going to try to go back to Rostock? Are they going to try to go for Millie again if it's a plane that might be giving you a milli-circle? Or are they going to do something else? Because, as you're saying as well, Team Liquid is now pretty close to them, only 9 points away. And we know that Team Liquid, they are a team that likes to chase. They have a good chance to do that. And then you have Tornado just behind, 1 point behind there as well, 10 points behind you. And Tornado is a team to fear, especially with all the kills they have as well. I think that currently Tornado is the kill leader of the lobby, which means that is also going to be the first tiebreaker in terms of if we get a tie going on here. And that's going to give them an upper hand here if they keep on playing their own game.
Yeah, of course, for Digital Athletics here, Martin, not going up against the Northern Lights, if you're not going to take matters into your own hands, then you're hoping for the will of the gods that somebody takes out Northern Lights elsewhere early on in this match. Otherwise, your chances could be scarpered.
Yeah, and on top of that, you have to realize how Northern Lights they play, and they will be playing this game as well, exactly how they were playing the last game and how they've been playing in the previous matches. They will be playing edge heavy. They will be trying to get the points there, and once we see circle 3 and 4 pop, they will be trying to put themselves into a positions where they can play on foot from there and potentially get more kills as well. And also, I would kind of like to see Northern Lights to adapt from that, because that is what the teams at the top right now, and even the other teams, they would expect from them. If they manage to get a good start to a good circle where they potentially could lock down in a nice 2-2 split, I would like to see that from them, just to spice it up. Because if they can secure and deny some of the teams that are trying to get into the center, try to get more points from that, that would be extremely nice to see from them.
Yeah, of course, TSM and Omakan are fighting to try and get themselves top 8 for a little bit more money, but all eyes truly are on that top 1 and 2 position, as well as 3 and 4. How are those going to shape up? Northern Lights right now, as we previously mentioned, has a huge lead going into this last game. Will DA be able to make the dream come true? It's time to go to our final game here of the tournament, PCS3 EU. Sims and Pansy, take it away.
With absolute pleasure. This is going to be a different game to anything you've seen before. Matters change in these moments. Now, Northern Lights have to make a very choice decision. Do we play safety on this? Do we ensure we stay alive? Do we play edge of the map? Do we split apart so no one can hot drop us? How do we approach this? And DA have to chase. We have to see DA taking fights and taking a victory. No shortcomings here. You cannot be relenting. And then you look at Liquid and you look at Tornado Energy, Rich. These two are so close to each other here. Both of them need a damn good game.
All cards are on the table. There's 26 points separating our top 4 teams. 212 points down to 186. Northern Lights with 212. 16 points is all that separates them from DA. DA been starting off the year as what we can only describe as a bit of a meme, and now slowly encapsulating on what could be an absolute dream. Hold on, Beamy and Metralius.
Beamy?
Up at the top, I'm seeing vehicles side by side. Beamy's pulled up on him. Metralius, you've got to run away from this. If he's got a gun, you're in all kinds of trouble. Go, go,
He's
go.
out.
It might only
He's
be
out.
an Uzi, but it doesn't matter whatsoever.
Rich,
stay
on another point,
alive.
Look at Batulans. He's their safety net and he is their gateway to the circle. So here is how they've played this. I like this. This is smart play. This is safe play from Northern Lights. In case someone would have dared to jump in towards Primos, let's say they got it right. That's where they were dropping. Batulans went, right, at worst case scenario, I can survive and be the snake I need to be. Now, for the rest of the team, do they just get vehicles and get up to Georgia Pole? I'm looking to see what they do here because they could be light on loot, and I think that's probably the right choice. They get to loot Georgia Pole and do what they want, get themselves set up for the north. DA don't have a bad entryway either. If they loot quickly, it's subpar compounds. So honestly, their loot will be a little weaker. I don't know on their vehicle status either. So for them, a little bit trickier. For Liquid and Tornado Energy, the circle feels different. Liquid are in the circle, but we know they don't like to sit pachinki late game. That's not something they do. They like to move central quite early. And Tornado Energy, let's see how they approach this, because there may be a line on that outskirt on the southeast side that could make that rotation a little bit tougher.
Now, for everyone else who's going to be approaching this a little bit later than what the Northern Lights already have done, the benefit is that the Northern Lights are currently undergeared. I mean, hell, 3 of their players have nothing. They have 2 vehicles in abundance, and they are on a hard transition. They have to get up there as quick as possible to be able to get any kind of loot. There'll be no helmets, no chests. If one single person dare just turn up, it's an easy frag. It's simple. It's clean. They die. There's no getting away from it. Now, that's the benefit to everyone else. If you want to try and move and transition now towards the north, they're not going to be there to gatekeep. They're not going to be there to stop you in your tracks unless Batulins wants to go for the big boy play. Now, I don't think they will because you've already seen them. You know where they are on the map. You know where they are on the league table. As it stands as a whole, they're not going to be hyper aggressive. They might go for the early play over to North Georgia and put themselves in a position where they are ready to receive a heavily favored northern circle, because at the moment we do have quite a lot of that area up in play and it is encapsulated by water. I probably say, looking at this circle, more land towards the north and certainly down towards the south. DA has taken what's more commonly known as the Liquid compound. Liquid as a team are actually on rotation. Just be aware that ETG are directly in front of them. Quepta, where do you set up shop? Where are you going, buddy? Because if you somehow inadvertently just stop directly in front of Team Liquid, yes, there's options for Liquid just to dart away from it, but it would be at what cost? Do you hold the approach? Do you now have to redirect because you've seen this? No, they're sending it. They're challenging it. No one's going to stop Liquid from making it onto the opposing side. A bridge is not too far for this team. They need to get there, and they need to get there faster. More importantly, Lauren, they need points. If they can somehow take out this one player, then that's just a bigger bonus in the bag. They have the vehicles, they're across, they're safe. And you know what? They might even still be hunting.
They could be, but it's tough to do this now because you're getting into territory you have no idea of. This is the unknown for them. Georgia Pole isn't something that they've played a great deal as of late, but maybe it's time to rekindle some of that. Northern Lights are in a 2-2. Some towards the south, kind of back 6. On the southern side of Georgia Pole, in the north, you do have 2 up there as well, Perfectix and I think Spyro. You do have Liquid in there. You have a couple more on the way. Marv gonna land some lovely shots. Really good control from Marv on that spray. Oh, you are lucky, Archie. Very, very lucky to get away from this one. Carry on your journey. Maybe consider a med when you find some safety, because, eesh. Now, DA have opted to go through Roshawk. It looks like they're going to be opting to try and take more of a southern approach, kind of following WS as such. Fair bit of distance between them, but a similar pathing, as you can see. So this could get tricky. These could have some sort of camp, some traps set up potentially to catch any teams coming through. Offstring's pulled aside, so he could be able to spot anyone coming through. TSM opting further north. They've gone already on towards the northern side of this island. And Northern Lights need to be careful because a lot of these teams are very central around Georgia Pole. We actually have a lot more than maybe they'd expect. The loot, probably by this point, is decent. It may not be everything they wanted, but it should be more than enough to handle what's coming their way. Now, DA are about to cross the small island, kind of west of Roshawk. Here we go. So Offstring should see this. They cannot afford to lose players here, DA. They're going to spin up towards the hillside and try and avoid the rest of WS. Good choice. Very good choice here. You do not want that fight. And Offspring will happily take an attempt at it. Nothing really connecting. Nothing to be too worried about. Metralius spins out, but hopefully he can get himself... Uh-oh, Metralius now! Don't lose out on this. The back tire's gone, so this thing's a little bit slidey. And he's going to have to keep moving. This is getting very sketchy. TSM are on the hillside as well. There are so many players around this area. Metralius is struggling with this. He's desperate to try and keep this on track. You can see the concentration in his face. And it's a race with TSM. They are all gathering around this area. It looks like DA have decided, right, we're just going to pull into here for now. This compound will be our home for the moment. ETG, TSM, so many teams around this side.
ETG's ready to receive TSM with open and welcome arms. Finds the first one to step up to the top of the hill and instantly should be eliminated. He's heavily damaged unless the response around the back of the car. He's fluffed it. He's absolutely fluffed it. Thankfully, Tendelos will be there for the overpeak in the commitment. Quepta goes down. Vex is there as well. Vex has fallen. What a response. But still in it. Hits the heel and goes for the second. This is a devastating blow for ETG. They had the drop. They had all the time in the world. And TSM's just shown them what they're made of.
Oh, you don't mess with Vard. You don't mess with Vex. These guys can turn any scenario, and they've proven that time and time again, and they prove it here today. The final game, they put just a stamp of authority. TSM have not had the best of performances, really, overall. Sitting down in 9th, they're a team that can be towards the top. And FaZe, a similar play, a similar position, and a similar death coming through. HC going to pull up on this. It's not pretty. It's not nice. Shots are there, but it's all for nothing, really. Bit of a trade out. This is messy.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Top of the stairs should be an easy frag. Some more towards that northern side. They're all just committing. They know it's the last stance. Nothing else really you can do. The overcommitment comes through. Absolutely pepper this. Jimbo has gone down as well, so already one knock on the side of Team Liquid, and that was within the North Georgia Pole side itself.
Nice.
Job done. FaZe gets the final kill, but not without losing one individual player.
Okay, so I did see, I think it was Anonymous, or at least one of the Sauna boys, definitely spotting out Batulins, who is over by the crates of Georgia Pole. So he's been noted as being there. I don't know if he can back away safely, but he's there. Luz over on the bridge as well. They're playing very split apart. Now, it is dangerous, but you won't expect too many teams to get into Georgia Pole at this point, or it'll be very tricky to. Kalikai, lovely work on the car. Nail up, going to feel a bit silly after that, but flushed by Zoka. While looking towards Tornado Energy. Okay, they've taken the eastern side of this, that kind of the 3-story compound. It's pretty common. It's a very nice spot, but a lot of the teams opting to go closer to Georgia Pole, maybe feeling the circle will be favorable to that side.
I have to make note of this. I know there's a fight going on your screen, but Mexi has just gone for the big boy play. He has completely drove away from all of Team Liquid, and he has just solidified themselves one of the best spots on the map. All of Liquid can now just reconsolidate with him, magnetize that position. They have got such a huge area.
I'm looking at DA because they have to go past Omicron, TE, TSM, and then approach the likes of Liquid, Northern Lights, and maybe even FaZe. Where did DA go on this? Because they are playing a very dangerous game. Again, the unknown is where they are heading towards. Omicron is slightly ahead. Page is slightly further ahead than them right now. And Vazku just comes past. Metralis on the back with the AK could do a little bit of a spray down, a little bit of a hit and run. No. They just kind of cross each other like ships in the night. A little bit louder on one side, should I say. But enough. A little bit of damage done. They continue forward. No one falling foul just yet. But where do they send this? The rocks already slightly claimed by FaZe. Not completely yet, but that's where they're heading towards, at least for now. Very outskirts. DA continue further forward. They're looking maybe towards where Liquid went, or the hillside behind it. Northern Lights in a tricky position. It looked like they wanted to go north, but actually opting to come back south, heading back in towards Georgia Pole. This is interesting choices being made. WS and Na'Vi managing a little fight between each other. Maxi under fire as well from further afield. I think that's Senya providing fire from further back, actually on the island itself.
We have to go with DA. DA are pulling up behind the backside of Liquid. I know this is a fight happening currently, but DA are just behind the back of Liquid. The Northern Lights saw what Liquid was doing, went rather close in the field, then opted to just completely fly away back to the edge of Georgia Pole. They've gone to the edge of the circle. They're going to play the late game. DA, however, is under fire from Team Liquid. We've got to look at that, because once they leave that fight completely, they might just run into the open arms of FaZe Clan. There's potential here that DA goes down in 15th spot. They are still in a ditch. They're still alive. But the thing is, if one player from that team... Well, that's the thing. If any of those players get knocked at all, that becomes red alert for Team Liquid. It's like, bump. We need to kill them and need to kill them now, and they will just spring into action. Look at that. There's no hard terrain. The bevel just
not nice.
Encapsulate any grenades that come their way.
And I wouldn't mind it late game. If that was like, we know the circle's going to close here, I don't mind that position at all. But it's too open for now, I feel. Once this compresses slightly, we'll see. Nice work from QBE again. Kill your Kai on the receiving end there. Shift W around 8th position, kind of similar to TSM in the performance category, I guess you could put it. They were up substantially higher earlier on, but they've dipped away a little bit. They've fallen off a touch. Northern Lights still maintaining the south here. They've opted to decide that the south is a safer bet for them. Interesting choice to be made, and I wonder how that will affect things further on. But these fights in the blue, it's a tough circle. It's very northern, obviously, leaning here, so it will be tricky for some of these teams down the end. And for now, I look towards, again, where is Tornado Energy in this? Quite passive, but in the circle. Not their usual proactive selves in that case, I feel. But Example's very disconnected from the others. He's kind of moved up on his own towards the kind of shadow of a T-Bone, for example. Very, very close by. The rest, slightly further east. You can see Quizzy, Alia, and Melman. More over towards the kind of plane crash. You've got the kind of outskirts of shooting range, that hill that rolls around. Dangerous play, but I guess at this point they're trying to maybe keep information now coming through. Trying to maybe keep eyes on what's possibly in front of them, and maybe seeing Omicron is enough for them to go. They need a high kill game. That is something they're definitely looking towards. There goes Shift W, their last hurrah, and they're down in 15th. Not ideal, but hey, they've had a very middling performance, and well, okay. So here's the other outcome of this. DA suddenly have a belting position if they can defend it. It's hard to defend though, Rich, because people can just blind send into this, not really knowing what's in there, and DA can't really easily see it coming. So it is tough. This is a very tough position to hold. Now, if they pull it off, genius.
They also don't have the bigger vehicles to be able to build some kind of wall. So if anyone else was wanting to try and full send this in, you are very limited on the amount of cover that you have to receive those fights, to take those fights when they get to the doorstep. I did see a sniper rifle amongst that roster, so if they can get 1-2 headshots over by FaZe Clan, if they decide to come down this way, that is a slight better opportunity, if you will, or a better scenario, should I say. With FaZe there, they're stopping any kind of coastal stroke cliff approach, so getting behind them will be very, very difficult unless they're attacked from Team Liquid's side. Northern Lights has all the work to do. Northern Lights decided to take a look for that compound. They did exactly what DA did, but Mexi, to go all the way up to this compound so early on and grab it for Team Liquid, it's such a massive, massive swing.
I also want to highlight, though, Northern Lights have full information on the west and anyone coming up that way. They're maintaining position here to probably ensure that no one comes across that bridge late, that no one tries to swing around Georgia Pole, and also just safety reasons. Play it smart, play it slow, play it careful for them is the name of the game. They want to maintain position, they don't want to die early. So don't expect them to be trying to take too many fights. They put Spyro further ahead as their next piece to move towards. Tornado Energy did just lose out on Quizzy, only a knock, not a flush, but Na'Vi are coming quite close. And we highlighted before, they were quite split apart. It wasn't this kind of four-man play, it was a 1-1-1-1. So you're going to see them maybe having to fall back to this. Melman's on the way, but he could potentially lose out here. If Na'Vi have already pulled up and seen this, they're in a real troubling spot. Win streak, doing okay. Maxi there finding QBE. Doesn't really fuss me if I'm honest. That's again WS down towards the bottom here. Again, not exactly turning my attention, but I'd like to see how Tornado Energy are faring if we could, because they've got Na'Vi on one side, Pink Ponies on the other, and they've now got the blue to contest with. Orange already going to find one, but a quick trade for Quizzy. Kills coming in are going to make maybe Liquid a little nervous. That's not what you want to be seeing if you're a Liquid fan, because you think, oh, they're going to start getting a bit of a gap here, they're starting to start pushing. And they're continuing this. Example finding Marv and instantly flushing Marv is great work, but Besto's creeping further forward, Rich. He's getting involved in this one. The blue's going to start hurting, but this nade could be great. He's going to see enough. That should be sent perfectly. Should be a quick spray to just solidify. It goes too far. Somehow they're still alive here. Quizzy trying to get a revive, and none of these shots are landing. Besto's probably frustrated at this. Flustered almost. A quick little med to try and help things out. Wait, are Ents going to crash?
Ents are crash. Pushing.
Here we go, that's
Ents
one.
arrived.
Rostamar's down. Tiksoon now knocked. Diggory's still there, but for how long? He's down. Okay, they survived the first wave. Mert was about to come back, but they're okay. They're safe. Melman's gone down to the blue, but there was another player there for Tornado Energy. Keep that in mind. They are not down yet. They're just struggling in the blue, and they will have a player in the circle. Alia and I think Example are both in, but by the Pink Ponies, as we can now see. Spray comes in. Vampire's done Example. This is great news for Liquid. They'll probably start feeling much, much better after seeing a couple kills come in. They're thinking, all right, not too bad. But do FaZe now crash towards DA? That's the next question in my mind, is would they dare go for it? Ali has now been found. This is opening the window. The breeze coming in of a chance. And FaZe just got a couple of shots from DA, and now they're going to be sharing a very close by space. Besto sees Quizzy. Again, this is this blue fight that's been raging on. And Na'Vi, hell, why not go for it? They can maybe just be a little bit of a nuisance. They're just going to fight it out for the sake of pride. And a prideful team indeed, and they have right to be. Quizzy looking worse for wear. Down he goes. Tornado Energy are out in 12th. It's now time. If Liquid can push up, not far in front of them is Tornado Energy. This could be a third place run for Liquid here.
There was opportunity for FaZe to maybe try and throw some nades to the side of Digital Athletics, but there's two things that are going not their way whatsoever. You have an elevation of teams behind you over on the western side, the embankment that rolls down from the position that they came from. WS, Pink Ponies, then directly across the road, Omicron. One thing to note about all of this, Murd is out on his own. He's hit the coastline. He's over by the cliff face, and he's waiting. What kind of gun he has, I've no idea. If he has that bold action that we saw earlier on come into play, Offstring hits the world onto Goya. The transition will come through from the Pink Ponies, and this could also be where Mert's position comes into play. This could be pivotal. If they try to go around all these teams and maybe just camp down on the ridges, because really there's nowhere else to go. Hell, they might even just take the fight or die to Womack, and that's another option as well. Look at this. They have the height advantage on all the teams that are below them. Northern Lights still low and slow all the way down to the south. They've stuck by the apartment blocks as close as they humanly can get it. But for teams like WS, for teams like Na'Vi, for any other of these Marauders that will just be in their last chance, their last ditch attempt, they may inadvertently just run into them.
They certainly could do. And scraps aren't a bad thing for Northern Lights to pick up. Besto having to tuck in now. The damage kind of starting to mount up. And the Sauna Boys are very aware of Northern Lights. They have been kind of having some cursory shots towards it. Nothing too much. No commitment towards it, of course. But they know where they are. Now, ETG's remainder, too, isn't too far off. So if they do get lackluster... okay, Offstring, WS is coming around here. Mert's going to see this, call it out. Hey, guys, get ready. Look towards the northern side, because you might just have a team coming your way, and Mert cannot afford to lose his teammates here. He needs to provide some fire. Oh my god, hit the deck. You have been seen. Now WS know exactly where he is, and he's isolated. Do the rest of DA help him out, or do they try and stay undercover? Mert can use this cliff for safety. He can try and stay unspotted, but the circle will push him slightly further forward. I want to see what WS do about this. They have a potential player in front of them that could be a problem. So it looks like they're going to try and remove him from it. Mert in the vehicle, though, trying to move up slightly, but he's going to have Offstring against him. Mert, pull up! Oh, he tried to get away, but Kemba says no. Mert's now on his knees, and there's no recovery in sight. The rest of DA looked like they were trying to help. They slightly moved north. But to what end? There goes Mert. So now down to 3. DA are going to have to make it work, even with odds against them. Same can be said for Northern Lights. So their circle is going to be a problem. Northern Lights, where do you go? That ditch in the field might be their safety net, but they have to make it there. Oh, and the fire comes in. The Sauna Boys unleash. And waiting patiently. He didn't take the shot. He waited so long. That could have been a little bit of a grab of a point, but no, he didn't opt for it. And now Northern Lights make it into the fields. They will have to find safety in here, though. They are not in currently.
This isn't inside the circle. Look at all the teams that are crashing towards this. TSM, Omicron, they're all heading this way. This could be a complete massacre. Are you ready for what's about to arrive? Spyro, first one. Perfectix follows up. Petulans has fallen. Petulans has flushed. But Perfectix has gone down as well. Ira answered back. T-Bone gets done by Lou. The Northern Lights are being smashed to pieces. The grenade goes off. They're dying on all fronts. This is complete madness. This is chaos. This is not what they wanted. The final moments, this was the place
Rich,
that they
DA's
needed
being
to be,
surrounded.
but 3 teams have hit it.
DA's being surrounded as well, though. If they die, it's all for nothing. They're burning alive. In the meantime, Spyro just needs to stay alive if he can. If he can try and just lay quiet, let the eyes gaze elsewhere for a second, keep the wolves from the door, maybe they've done enough. DA is under all kinds of trouble. Wanderer's just naded Code Marco, smashes down. I think it might just be Metralia standing for now. This could be the end of DA. This could be Northern Lights doing just enough. He's found one, but it's surely a trade. He spins around on a dime. Look at Metralia, they're done for. 10th place. I don't think they can chase. Spyro just needs to live.
Every single smoke is being used. All he has to do is survive. Jeems falls on to Fex. Now it's time for Team Liquid to attempt to do something here. There was a massive, massive point gap for Team Liquid to make up. It could be just a bridge too far. Spyro is holding on and hoping people die around him. The more placement points he can pick up at this point, the better. He is the last stand here for the Northern Lights. Is it enough? That's the question. If he can pick up one frag, if he can even do it, they're gone. They're out. And now it comes down to Team Liquid. Are there enough bodies in play? The maximum that they could get is what? You take it, you're on a mathematical game here. I don't think they can do it.
We'll see. Let's see how far they can jump this now. Liquid have the perfect position to go off. This is Metralius' final stand to try and keep DA alive. The turn was great. The shots on Maxi just went wide. And WS are the downfall of the Turkish fans out there. WS will not be their favorable team right now, especially after those hot drops that came in not too long ago. But for now, we look towards what Liquid can do. For now, it's Northern Lights at the top, and they are safe from DA's climb. They are safe from Tornado Energy's climb. It is only Liquid who could do anything to change that current 4 as it stands, and they once again have the circle.
They can jump them by 1 point. But they would have had to kill every single person. If my maths is correct, they could literally beat them by 1 point. But they have to kill the entire server. With everyone else falling around them, I'm pretty sure that's it. We're going to have to wait until the end, but for me, that is the Northern Lights claiming victory. And if so, a very commanding victory. This could be the way that they do it to end the year. It's not a back-to-back PCS, but certainly they're the first one in Europe to potentially do it.
Incredibly impressive run from the Northern Lights. They are one of the standouts of new teams to the block. We thought the CIS Giants were always going to be Na'Vi, and then Northern Lights burst onto the scene and showed us things that we can't help but look at and enjoy. But the Sauna boys, let's get back into the game for a second, close it out. As let's see how far Liquid can take this. They need a lot of frags here, and they need everything in front of them if they want a shot at jumping the table. Na'Vi have gone down. The nades are good so far from Liquid. They are looking to jump, already into third now, taking over Tornado Energy and looking to potentially push DA down to third place.
The nades are good, and the barrage keeps continuing. The Sauna boys have had eyes on the prize for a while when it comes to Team Liquid, and they've certainly known their position. FaZe is chilling. They're sitting back. They've had this ditch, and the circle's been extremely favorable to them. WS is still behind enemy lines when it comes to Team Liquid. This side of the road is not where you want to be when all's said and done. If they can put the smokes up and make it across, easier said than done. WS having a very slight height advantage. Liquid just go into passive play for all but a moment, but that's totally fine. The houses that they've been granted, and again, this all comes off the back of Mexi. We can't talk about this enough, that the play to be able to solidify this compound was phenomenal. It's ballsy because you can die on transition, you lose someone early. I mean, hell, the Northern Lights were seconds away from controlling this. DA about another 5 seconds down the line. Everyone looked towards this compound, but Mexi made the play to come here early. And if we think about how much, if they get second, from jump up from 4th place, that would be a multi-$1,000 play coming out the back of Mexi just to grab this. Like, we can't speak enough how good this territory is right now for Liquid.
Want to see what they still do with it, though. WS are being incredibly mobile, a bit of a nuisance, to say the least. Omicron will be forced a little further forward here. And it does mean that Liquid will be seeing all of this. They'll be seeing everything that they're up to. But Gemty's the one to find Nookie. So again, circle favorable towards Liquid, maybe a shift towards where Ibby and Jeems currently reside, so a little bit closer towards that end. WS still maintain most of the position in the north. FaZe will have to shuffle down this ridgeline, which may open up opportunity for the likes of Clib if he keeps vision on this. More spots coming out. That could have been a headshot any day of the week. Just needs to curve the bullet slightly, but tapping away. Does find the headshot. That's going to be frustrating for Omicron on the other side. Backs to the blue. Might be time to get in the vehicles and try and make a last-ditch attempt to get in with this. Gemty on the move. Who gets it? That ditch is not safe, I remind you. That ditch is definitely not safe. Jean's going to find Vascu. They need the points, though. They've got to get the flushes here, Rich.
Most important, they'll batter their way into the vehicles. You have the 5-second delay from the explosion. Will it be close enough? No, it will not. The vehicle doesn't land on his head. Fair amount of damage done. They'll try and pick up the extra point onto Vascu. Eventually, FaZe Clan will show its hand. It is looking at the moment and focusing towards WS because they're the first point of contact to get across the road. Gemty avoiding the onslaught of grenades. What would really throw things into the mix for Liquid is if WS somehow just bombed it to the back of the garage that Ibby has taken residency within. Quick swing comes out of FaZe Clan. They turn their attention. They've made it across the road. This is what they needed to do to be able to take this fight. Avoid the AWM's onslaught from the opposing side, pinning them back. If they can get to the foothills, they can maybe win this.
If Liquid want points, they have to get past Empty, which they've done, and they have to instantly get involved in this fight. They need all the points here. They can't actually let these go completely the other way. They want everything that's left available, so they need to get instantly proactive towards this third party. And it's a good idea too, because the nades are coming out. Oh, the nades from Buzzface. So good. But also still holding a dirty angle. Look how deep that is. Just back to the blue, but Liquid are now coming in. You can see Mexi, Ibby, they're all pouring forward. They need these third parties, they need these points, but some have been ripped away. WS are on their knees though, and Liquid know it's the perfect time to strike. They've got to get into this right here, right now. James, Mexi, Clib, they're all running, and surely if you're WS, you know that death is knocking at the door in the form of Liquid, but is there enough points to catch up? I do not know. It may still be as it stands, Northern Lights, DA, Liquid as the top three. I want to get that confirmed, of course, but as it stands, Northern Lights have picked up the win. They've done more than enough there. That last-ditch attempt to play it in, staying alive, and DA, their Erangel attempts have been thwarted by WS a fair amount of times.
What's scary to me is we think back to yesterday, DA unfortunately had two 16th placements. Like 50% of their games were just unacceptable. I know a lot of things went on, but things could have been different today. Regardless of all that, I've got to say the top 4 teams for this competition have played phenomenal. It has been a 100%. Fantastic showing of European PUBG. Like, to cast these, to be in this driving seat, to be able to watch all this action go down, EU PUBG is just starting to... It keeps getting... The bar is just being raised higher. I think we know where we stand by it. We'll let James do the confirmation of the winners, so we know who's kind of, sealed this year off. But I've got to say, it's been great. It's been fantastic to watch. It's been nice to see DA showing what they're capable of. Like, the consistency from Liquid, phenomenal. The bounce back from TE, the Northern Lights, phenomenal. But ultimately, there can only be one winner.
And honestly, I'm happy to welcome another incredible CIS team. We had Na'Vi towards the top for so long. If this is Northern Lights' victory, which I feel it is, they are truly and utterly deserving. Not only did they adapt after their, they had a bit of a hot run, but then teams worked them out. They adapted. They've come back stronger. But as said, to confirm everything, to wrap this up, put a little bow on it, it will be Kalaris, it will be Froz, it will be Martin, and even Toby if we're lucky. Let's just roll the gang out.
Even Toby's here. Yeah, that's right. But of course, after that final game, we have to say what we've said a few times already. Give them the trophy, because Northern Lights have had an amazing tournament here so far throughout everything. It has been great watching them from start to finish. And then, of course, they will be crowned our champions. We'll take a look at the standings a little later on, because maybe there's a few shifts here and there. But I've got, as said previously, Avenger, Froz, Toby joining me here. Toby, to start things off, a great game full of chaos, to be honest, with the circles heading up towards that north position.
This was a clear chase for the championship for some teams, and a clear chase to make up for lost points earlier. And when you have circles that go against practically everyone with the way that the plane went, everyone knew they had a chance of getting that good compound or getting into that better position, and that just ends up with a lot of people stumbling over each other. And the few teams that were already up there, you're Liquid, you're to some extent DA, having to sit around and wait for a bit, but then the chaos would eventually come to them too.
Yeah, win streak really was the thorn in the side of DA, especially when it comes to Erangel here, Froz, and it continued to plague them even into this last game, where win streak shows up with like a 10+ kill game, but it's a little bit too late for them to really get some momentum on the board. But they cost DA a lot here at the final moments.
Definitely, and you saw how DA was trying it from the start. They tried another dropping towards Mansion, and then we also saw them, of course, rotating up towards the north there, having a 3-1 split. This is not something that is usual for DA, but seeing them once again trying to adapt to it, trying to make something happen rather than giving it into... they tried to take control over the situation themselves. But it didn't work out this time. But I mean, props down to them. They played it out of their hearts, and it was so great to see them throughout the whole finals here.
Absolutely. Well, we end 2020 as we started it. Where's my bathrobe? I need to find one, because it's Northern Lights. Batulin is joining us here, as they are now the champions of PCS3. And the sunglasses. Whoa, the full combo. Batulins, how are you doing, friend?
I think I'm feeling like I'm EU champion, 2 times EU champion. So yeah, I feel great right now.
So I guess my first question regarding that is, obviously, as you say, you started 2020 as champion, and now you're ending 2020 as champion here for PCS and as it does stand. Obviously, throughout that road in 2020, there's been some ups and downs. The middle was not as good. How has the road been from your perspective? Because yeah, it's been up and down.
From my perspective, we started this season. Actually, we started it with the PGS Berlin qualifiers. Yeah, so we went through open qualifiers to Berlin, and then we qualified for a major. But after this COVID thing, PCS online tournaments, and it was super fun and nice road for us. Yeah, so we started good, but then we had some problems because I think most of teams, maybe they were expect what we're gonna do in the games, yeah, and we maybe were a bit, I can't say that we were like chilling or something like that. Yeah, we always were working, yeah, but not that hard in the middle of the season. But we decided that we don't want to lose, we don't like to lose, yeah, and we prepared for PCS3 as you can see, we won it.
Oh, that's interesting to hear. So you got to kick up the bum midway through the year to work hard. Martin, do you have a question?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I think initially I wanted to ask, what did you guys eat yesterday, since you had such an amazing day? But I actually want to ask and allude a little more into, you said that you were working hard and stuff like that. Did you guys put a lot more hours into the game and work together more as a team and trying to grind hard? Because I feel like that's kind of been the road to success, is the more hours you put into the game as a team, the better results you're going to have in the big tournaments.
I think that our success is not only about putting a lot of hours in playing the game or thinking about how to play, analyzing the games. It was mostly about our mentality in our team, what we think about each other, how we feel together when we lose, when we win, yeah. And it was like the most important, the most difficult thing for us, but we found a good coach, we found a good analyst, and they really helped us in the end of this journey, yeah, in this year. And I think that's the most important thing. Like, we always playing smart. I think we fight okay. The only problem was our mentality, yeah. And when we solve all the problems with it, we started playing good. We played super consistently on the group stage and in the finals, and that's what I love in my team.
All right, Frost.
First of all, I want to say congratulations for winning another PCS. And I just want to know, 2020 has been a really good year for you guys in PUBG. I just want to know, what has been the best moment in game for you and the team?
The best in-game moment for me and the team, I think, I don't know, it's hard to say. Just the thing that we won 2 times EU championships. No really special moments like when I was killing versus 3 people or we won the big game. No, just the whole thing, the whole year. Like, the most what I love in esport is this ecosystem, about thinking about how you and your team can communicate together and win the games, and that's what I love. So yeah, I think just my team, that's all.
Perfect. Toby?
Of course, as well, first of all, amazing the fact that you guys are one of 2 teams in the world to win 2 PCS events in 2020. And also, PCS 1, you get 3rd place. So just overall insane performance from you guys. But now that Frost asked about what was the best moment, I kind of want to go the other way, because in PCS 2 you get 11th place, and as you were talking about, there were some mentality things, and the team maybe wasn't working as well together as you wanted it to. What has been, do you feel, the hardest obstacle in 2020 to keep being as successful as you have been?
The hardest, you know, when you're online, yeah, you can't speak to your teammates like face to face. Maybe that's the most difficult thing. When you're together with your team, like DA, yeah, we can see
yeah,
like DA was super bad firstly, yeah, but now they're a top Europe team, and they're playing together from the boot camp, and I love the way they're playing. Yeah, like they are super good. Like they're killing everybody. They can do everything. So yeah, that's the way. You have to work with your team together, face to face. So I think so.
So final question, I
Thank
suppose,
you.
from me is obviously in that last game, you guys probably felt you'd done enough, but obviously there was that moment in the field where all of a sudden like 3 teams are crashing onto your position. Was there just a little bit of tense moments there for your team, or?
I was like, no, please, why is it going like that? Like, not this game, please, not this game. Yeah, but yeah, luckily, the last games they're not big alive, and Liquid weren't able to make a lot of kills. Also, Liquid just took our compound. Just where we're going, this compound, the win compound, yeah, and they took it. And we know that it's Liquid because we were preparing, yeah, and like, no way, Liquid, they can win this PCS, and they in our compound, and I know that they're gonna kill most of people on the map, and like, no, it can't be true, but yeah, but we're lucky today, so yeah.
Lucky. Okay, we'll call it lucky. Any final shouts, Batulins, before we let you go?
What I can say, yeah. Thank you for all the fans through all this year who were supporting us just all this year. Thank to all players and teams who were competing with us this year in Europe. You're amazing. Of course, you, like all the casters who were working on these PCS tournaments. Yeah, I love you. Like these interviews with bathrobes and so on is amazing, truly amazing. Yeah, I think stay tuned for announcements. Maybe we're gonna be signed by a new organization soon. Whoa, yeah, we were going to it through the whole year, and now I think we are ready to be signed by some big name organization, and so just wait for 2021 for PGI.
It's going to be exciting. Look at this guy announcing an announcement. That's the esports way. Thank you very much, Batulins, and very much congratulations to your team. Go and celebrate. You are the champions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye for now. That was Batulins joining us here. Great interview. Again, it's always so much fun talking to Batulins when it comes to these tournaments, even midway through the tournaments. But then they get another championship under their belt, and fully congratulations here to Northern Lights. And that's how the standings go. We can take a look at our top 3 as well in terms of highlights. So let's take a look at 3rd place. Now, unfortunately for them, the dream did come to an end. Digital Athletics takes 3rd here at the tournament, despite Froz being in such a good position to take a 1st or 2nd throughout the whole thing. They just stumbled at the very last hurdle.
They stumbled on the last hurdle, but anything they've done during this tournament has just been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal to follow his team, see the progress from what they've evolved into. Also, of course, having a new addition to the team with Code Marco, and they've been able to play this well all together. I mean, you see not just one of them, not 2, not 3, but all 4 of them popping off time after time after time, and you see these amazing reactions. It's just, it makes you happy just seeing them being so happy. And I mean, even though they get a 3rd place, I feel like in my heart they're sort of the winner here.
Yeah, you could look to Code Marco as kind of the person. I mean, they mentioned it in the commentary that, you know, maybe Code Marco was doing some carrying during all this, but I believe that Code Marco has galvanized this team in a very impressive way, and that in terms of their overall performance has raised all player performance because they've all put a lot of work in. So appreciating what we've seen here from DA throughout the whole tournament. Let's take a look at our 2nd place team, as in the final moments they were able to take this spot. It is Team Liquid, Martin, who takes the spot.
Yeah, indeed, and they were able to have a really good end here to our to our day. Our last and final day, they actually have 52 points. Fantastic performance on that, which is basically the reason why they won, because they had a rough first day, 21 points, and then they improved slowly, yesterday having a somewhat rough game, and they actually managed to step up again, just really consistent. Their worst day, 21 points, after that 27, 29, and then they actually stay extremely consistent above that and just finish off extremely strong. So it's really good to see how well they're able to take this, but again, it's just another confirmation of in the very big tournaments this year, they haven't been able to just completely follow through with it. Second place is extremely respectable, but I'm sure that these guys would have loved to take home the victory in this one.
Yeah, and Clib has just been such a great addition. It's been a while now, Toby, that he's been on the roster, but every single game we watch Clib in, he's just great.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's been phenomenal addition to the team, and really now, I mean, really worked in well with the team. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. And of course, to round things out, our grand champions here for PCS3 EU, it is Northern Lights. And Froz, their consistency throughout this tournament has been nigh on unbelievable compared to almost every other team across PCS. Never mind just Europe. It's been fantastic to watch.
It's just been insane to watch them. Out of the 24 games we had in the finals, only 4 games outside placement points. That's how consistent they have been. But on top of that, they also had 115 kills. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like, how are they able to do this? You see them time after time being able to turn around a situation where they're underdog, and they turn it around and make sure that they win the game, and with a lot of kills on top of that. And it's just been phenomenal to see how they turn not just this around, but also from, of course, we saw their performers in PCS Charity Showdown, in PCS1, in PCS2, and coming in here, turning all around, making sure that they're still standing as the #1, as the best team here in Europe.
Yeah, Toby, you've got to commentate them as well throughout PCS3, and do you feel that their adaptations have looked good? I mean, of course, they've worked out well, but what have you taken away from this?
I feel like everything that went against Northern Lights, now I know that we talked to Battlins and he was blaming it in communication, but everything that went against them, as what we saw in game, they worked out in PCS3. I mean, they had an insane spot in the group stage. They carried through all the chaos there, and I feel like they found a play style that isn't just sitting on the edge until phase 4 and go center, but they have found a way to do that while being extremely adaptive. And also, I mean, now that they have the communication back, they can take fights at any point at any given game, and more often than not go out and win them. I think it's insane. I mean, they get to almost top the kills just behind Tornado Energy and Liquid, but their placement points speak for them. As Frost said, just 3 games outside of placement point, they always secure points. And when you get to play 24 games, that's what you need to do, and they have found their way to do it.
And as you look at the scores here, it's very evident, Martin, that it was pretty top heavy. We saw a lot of those teams up towards the top truly shining with the amount of chicken dinners they were able to get.
Yeah, there's only 3 chicken dinners on the right side of the leaderboard, and then it's really top heavy. Like, it's absolutely crazy, honestly. I did not expect this level, like 19 chicken dinners out of the 24 in our top 5. That is a story to tell, honestly. Like, and again, also extremely kill heavy in the top. We've been seeing the teams take, like, they've been advancing so far and putting themselves so far ahead as well. Like, I don't think anyone could imagine that you say a FaZe Clan and Na'Vi and Enzo and Omwak, and they're gonna end up in 5th to 8th place, and they're gonna be more than 40 points behind the top 4, which is teams that we have been seeing doing extremely well. But this far ahead for these specific 4 teams is so unexpected, and it's extremely surprising, and it's very good to see that we have, you know, this depth here in the region.
All right, let's take a look at the people that were able to stand out individually when it comes to the top killers as well here for the tournament. Fuzzface, Code Marco, Alia, and Diggory will all claim joint top position. That is actually very unexpected for me, Froz. I did not expect to see it this close up at the top.
I didn't believe it either when I first looked at it. 4 people tied on the first place. I mean, that's not every day you see that happening. No. And of course, it's not any unknown names. We all seen them frag out every game, and that's why they're on top here, of course. And then you have James down there, 1 point and 1 kill away from sharing that #1 spot. But I mean, it's amazing performance from all of these guys here, being able to rack up this amount of kills against some of the best teams and players in the world.
And of course, let's move on to our top damage across the tournament too. Alia, Spiro, Code Marco, Example, and James. So 1 or 2 repeat faces coming on in here. James, he likes that 5th place spot here, Martin.
Yeah, he's happy for the 5th place. But again, a shout out to Code Marco. He's been able to step up and as a new addition to a roster. I think it's one of the biggest impacts on the team. Like you can hear in Batalin's interview as well. Like they have been able to play super well. He is really pouring out some respect out of that. So I was really happy to hear that interview that we see that. And also a little shout out to Fex. He is 50 damage off being 5th as well. So he's just out there. Then it actually trickles down far. But those are our 5-6 guys that have been really fighting it out and duking it out and really farming that ADR.
And that is that, ladies and gentlemen. A huge thank you for tuning in around the world. Thank you to my panel. Thank you to Avenger. Thank you to Froz. And thank you to Toby here for joining us. See a cheeky little journalist for some of these games. It's been good fun to have everybody here. And thank you to our commentators, Sims and Pansy as well. And you know what? Thank you to Starladder. You guys have been fantastic all year long for PCS. So hats off to you guys. Thank you for being a joy to work with. That does it for PCS3 EU, and that does it for us in 2020. Although we do have a cheeky little dream hack coming up later on. But beyond that, we have got 2021 to look forward to. It's all a great time. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next time for more PUBG action.
Admit will finally be dropped. The PUBG Global Invitational 2018 Grand Champions. He'll look up and he'll knock him down. Your 2019 PGC champion.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone maybe, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down.